occupy their seats, please. Inshallah, we'll begin in a minute or so. I request everyone to please settle down. मैडम आप कब स्टार्ट करना है? स्टार्ट करना है। ये कौन है जो आ रही है? बाहर नीचे जो खड़े हैं कौन है? I don't know. स्टार्ट करेंगे तो बेहतर है। हाँ, स्टार्ट करूँ? Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to esteemed guests, respected management members, delegates, principal sir, colleagues and students. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the two-day international conference on need of inter-religious understanding for promoting peace and harmony, organized by Konkan Muslim Education Society's GM Momin Women's College and in collaboration with Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi. It is a tradition of Konkan Muslim Education Society's GM Momin Women's College that we begin every program with the recitation of Holy Quran. May I now request Mr. Omar Farooq sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, to please recite Qirat.
Recording in progress.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to one and all. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب الذين يذكرون الله قياما وقعودا وعلى جنوبهم ويتفكرون في خلق السماوات والأرض ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار ربنا إنك من تدخل النار فقد أخزيته وما للظالمين من أنصار ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. السلام عليكم.
Jazakallah Umar sir. Translation of Surah Al-Imran, chapter 3, verses 190 to 194. I seek refuge of Allah from Satan, the cursed one. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alternation of the night and the day, are signs for those of understanding, who remember Allah while standing or sitting or on their sides, and give thought to the creation of the heavens and the earth. Our Lord, you did not create this aimlessly. Exalted are you. Then protect us from the punishment of the fire. Our Lord, indeed, whoever you admit to the fire, you have disgraced him. And for the wrongdoers, there are no helpers. Our Lord, indeed, we have heard a caller calling to faith. Believe in your Lord, and we have believed. Our Lord, so forgive us our sins, and remove from us our misdeeds, and cause us to die with the righteous. Our Lord, and grant us what you promise us through your messengers, and do not disgrace us on the day of resurrection. Indeed, you do not fail in promise. May I now request the august gathering to please rise for the national anthem. Please play the recording, please. Thank you all. I request the gathering to please be seated. May I now request Dr. Tabassum Sheikh Madam, HOD of Department of Philosophy and coordinator of the Studay International Conference, to kindly give her welcome address. I would like to invite ma'am with this couplet. Nahi tera nasheman kasre sultani ke gumbat par, नहीं तेरा नशेमन कसर सुल्तानी के गुंबद पर, तू शाही है बसेरा कर पहाड़ों की चट्टानों में. डॉक्टर तबस्सुम शेख मैडम.
Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all the dignitaries present here today. Religion, as we all know, is an honorable sentiment. It has always been associated with virtues of mercy, kindness, goodness, peace, and tranquility. All religions preach these virtues. No religion is without mentioning these virtues, and we all are aware about it. So let us come to an understanding, to a reality, to a practical reality, I can say, that there is no one religion for all humanity, but there is one humanity for all religions. It is my pleasure to welcome all the participants today for this two-day international conference. The topic is Need of Interreligious Understanding for Promoting Peace and Harmony. I welcome all the eminent speakers and guests from all over the country and the globe who will be delivering the lecture online from different academic backgrounds and from different walks of life. They will be presenting on the online-offline blended mode, and this will be our first venture into the international arena for our college as well as for the campus. This last 6 months we have been making a lot of arrangements. We had to seek the permission of the Internal Affairs Ministry, of course, and the Institute of Objective Studies has given us an equal support in all these. The Institute of Objective Studies, the president, the chairperson himself will be introducing. Institute of Objective Studies have given us the support of collaborating, and in this collaboration we had to seek the permission of the Internal Affairs Ministry. We had to seek the permission of the Education Ministry. We had to seek the permission of the HRD Ministry. And this was a very big task which we had collaboration. Since we had the collaboration with the Institute of Objective Studies, it was easier. So thank you for that. And to mention my college and my society, we are all one family of Konkan Muslim Education Society. And let me tell you, for the guests who have come today, the inception of Konkan Muslim Education Society was in the year 1927. And we had many stalwarts passing out from the Konkan Muslim Education Society's Rais High School. We had many department heads in the university. And you all know, since Institute of Objective Studies is present here today, Professor Dr. A.R. Momin, who was the head of the Sociology Department, was also an alumni of Rais High School. Professor, yes, it's a matter of pride that we had such stalwarts passing out from Rais High School. And you know, A.R. Momin was an excellent scholar, an excellent academician. And imagine him being the HOD of the University of Mumbai, of the Department of Sociology. We had Professor Momin Mohiuddin also as the head of the languages, foreign languages department, passing out from here. We had Dr. Gorekar. Who was at St. Xavier's College. He was the director of Heraz Institute. He also was an alumni of Rais High School. So indeed, we are very, very proud that we had such stalwarts passing out from this institute. And today we stand before you as G.M. Momin Women's College, which was established in 1989 to cater to the needs of the women students, because it was the need of the hour that we needed a women's college here in Bhiwandi, and that was done by the wisdom of many founders of our Konkan Muslim Education Society. Our college is a Muslim minority women's college with a UGC recognition, ISO 9001-2015 certified from the Bureau of Indian Standards. We are also selected under Star College scheme by the Ministry of Science and Technology, and we have also sought the RUSA scheme. Recipient of FIST level grant from DST Government of India. We are the winner of BEQT award of NCQM. I would also like to introduce our partner in this collaboration, the Institute of Objective Studies. Institute of Objective Studies was established in 1986, and it was so well, we can say it was the base of the Muslim scholars, not only the Muslim scholars, but the people from all over India, people from all over India who gave the scholarly presentations. It was a seat of learning, it was a seat of research, and Institute of Objective Studies have made such a progress in leap and bounds over the years. They are now, we can say in a month they organize 19 to 20 conferences seminars, workshops all over the world. So indeed, we are proud that we have our collaboration with Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi, and we have many stalwarts whose names are associated with Institute of Objective Studies, Professor Wani, Professor Manzoor Alam. I can also say that the theme of this two-day international conference is need of interreligious understanding and peace and harmony, was in collaboration with Professor Marazi, Hamidullah Marazi, who is the Dean of Kashmir University, Central University of Kashmir. We came together, we talked about that we need to collaborate, and then we came to an understanding of why not on this topic. Professor Marazi over the years have progressed so much that he has a name in the globe now. He has a name all over the world. That here is a Muslim scholar who has written so many books. And we also have in our library many books written by him. So we have your books in our library. We hope that this two-day international conference will help us share so many good experiences with each other. It will make us come together because, mind you, we have people from all over the globe. We have people from Brunei, Malaysia, Indonesia, US, UK, who will be delivering their lecture online. And what I've seen, it will be offline, online, blended mode. And we will be sharing their knowledge with each other. I request that all the students and the delegates who are present here today will carry a lot of experience, knowledge, wisdom in these 2 days, and we hope that these 2 days will be a very, very memorable 2 days for all of us, and where we will carry a lot of knowledge, and we will come to an understanding. As I said in the beginning, we will come to an understanding that there is no one religion for all humanity, yes, but there is one humanity for all the religions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your warm welcome. We will now have a formal introduction of Institute of Objective Studies by Professor Zedham Khan. I would like to give a brief introduction of Professor Zedham Khan. Professor Zedham Khan is presently holding the position of Secretary General of the Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi. Sir is a reputed academician and researcher. Sir has taught in Jamia Millia Islamia and Jawaharlal Nehru University, two very prestigious University of India. Sir has 8 books to his credit. We would like to have and we'd like to listen such a wonderful personality today, Professor Zedham Khan. Okay, sorry, he's not able to join due to technical reasons, so we'll proceed with the program. I take immense pleasure in requesting our in-charge principal, Dr. Nisar Sheikh, the sculptor of human character, a seasoned scholar, and a navigator of this flagship of knowledge, to express his words of wisdom. I call Dr. Nisar Sheikh with this couplet. Kisme himmat hai hamari parwaz mein laye kami. किसमें हिम्मत है हमारी परवाज में लाए कमी, हम परों से नहीं हौसलों से उड़ा करते हैं. डॉक्टर निसार अहमद शेख.
Respected the eminent guest, Hassan Nadwi sir, Asina madam, Afzal Wani sir, Honorable President Mr. Tala Faqih sir, Honorable General Secretary Mr. Sohail Faqih sir, and other eminent management members of the Konkan Muslim Education Society of Thane district, coordinator of the today's conference, and all the dearest delegates and students who are connected us either on online or offline mode. First, on the behalf of management of Konkan Muslim Education Society, of Thane district and the staff of the GM Momin Women's College, a hearty welcome to all for the 2 days international conference organized by the Department of Philosophy and Internal Quality of Assurances of our college in collaboration with the Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi, on need of interreligious understanding for promoting peace and harmony. Dear friends, we are pleased to inform you that our college has acquired the tradition to organize such type of conferences, either national, international, or state level, to bring the research-oriented youngster along with research scholars on common platform to exchange their views on the areas of research. At present, our Department of Philosophy and Internal Quality Assurance Cell organized 2 days international conference in collaboration with the Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi, on need of interreligious understanding for promoting peace and harmony. Dear friends, our knowledge is limited and there are infinite numbers of problems waiting to be solved in every subject. Our dedicated staff of college is trying more or less to solve such types of problem by organizing various conferences, seminars, or symposiums. These platforms offer an opportunity to learn in a specific area and even help in sharing the experiences with others. The social learning occurs through interactions, engagements, and practical knowledge with others. Brown says that through stories and narrative, we can construct a framework of specific knowledge, which helps to construct our mental framework. No doubt, the conference will provide opportunity for the delegate to exchange new ideas to establish research relation with highly qualified research scholars. We hope that this 2 days international conference on need of interreligious understanding for promoting peace and harmony will act as a medium for all to ponder over the issues in India and inspire to get the solution therein. We are thankful to our generous management of Konkan Muslim Education Society of Thane district for their constant support and motivation, which help us to march on the way of success. I also thank the coordinator of conference and convener of Internal Quality of Assurance Cell and their team for organizing such an enthusiastic conference. I also thanks to all staff of our college who are contributing to success the conference either directly or indirectly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's a privilege to introduce Professor Hamidullah Marazi. Professor Hamidullah Marazi is presently Director of International Center for Spiritual Studies.
इंट्रोडक्शन ले लीजिए उसके बाद इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ थीम पहले उनको ले लीजिए ज़ेडम खान
Thankfully, Professor Zedham Khan sir has joined, and I would request Professor Zedham Khan to give an official and formal introduction of Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi. Professor Zedham Khan.
He is voted. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, sir, please. Yes, sir, you're audible. You can speak, sir.
Assalamu alaikum to everybody. Let me at the outset congratulate both the organizations which have really tried to organize this student international conference on a very pertinent and relevant theme of need for interreligious understanding for promoting peace and harmony. GA Momin Women's College, Vivendi and Institute of Objects is committed to this theme and this kind of thought which is required in this country. I will be very brief in terms of introducing Institute of our existence. And during this course of time, we have conducted ourselves through various elected bodies like General Council, General Assembly, Finance Committee, Academic Committee. Of operation is research, and all kinds of research is conducted by us. We invite researchers to work on selected themes, and the scholars also submit their research proposals to us for approval. Second area of our activity is publications. Publications are important area, and we are satisfied to declare that we have come out with very important books on very, very relevant themes. Apart from that, publication also has got an ongoing program of issue of journals, like Journal of Objective Studies, which is called as JOS, Religion and Law Review, Mutaliat, online magazine, Nuqta-e-Nazar. These are regular publications. Another area is important, which is organizing conferences. We started with the local discussions on local issues, which is called as Sham-e-Muzakara. Apart from that, the local, the national and international conferences are organized by us. And I think we are certainly known in concerned circles. Apart from that, we have got two important awards. One is the Lifetime Achievement Award to those who have contributed to the richness of life, and another is Shah Waliullah Award. Preparation of textbooks, reading series and reference books is also our area. We conduct ourselves in this, and we are satisfied that quite a good number of writers and authors are associated with us. We also run a translation bureau, and English, Urdu, Hindi, Arabic, the main languages in which we conduct ourselves. We are launching a new program of regional languages. We will try to cover Indian regional languages in terms of providing. Another area is that we have got the review editions of certain books, and apart from that, we have got a data bank which is conducted by us. These are small areas I have mentioned, but the activities are certainly big, and we are trying that we should be relevant to our and I congratulate these both organizations, that is the GM Objective Studies, to have got vital theme as need for peace and harmony. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Zedham Khan, sir. Thank you. I'm happy to introduce Professor Hamidullah Marazi, sir. Professor Hamidullah Marazi is presently Director of International Center for Spiritual Studies, Islamic University of Science and Technology, Kashmir. Sir is also convener, IOS Center of Interreligious Understanding, New Delhi. Sir has visited more than 50 universities and academic institutions in India and across the globe to deliver lectures on comparative religion. Professor Marazi has written 40 books on Islamic philosophy, epistemology, world religions and inter-religious dialogues, etc. May I now request Mr. Talafaki, sir, President Konkan Muslim Education Society, to please felicitate Professor Hamidullah Marazi, sir. तालियां बजती रहनी चाहिए, please.
सामने से जा, सामने
Thank you. May I now request Professor Hamidullah Marazi to introduce the theme of international conference. I would like to invite him with this couplet. Na पूछो गुफ्तगू में क्या असर रखता है वो, न पूछो गुफ्तगू में क्या असर रखता है वो, संग दिल को मोम करने का हुनर रखता है वो. Professor Hamidullah Marazi.
आउज़ बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasul Kareem, amma ba'd. Respected Professor Akhtar Wasa Sahab, he is online, our teacher. Professor Imtiaz Yusuf Sahab from Malaysia, Stock. Professor Paramveer Singh Sahab from Patiala University. Professor Abdulaziz Bargot from Stock, Malaysia. Dr. Savita Sukumar, Mr. Umar Farooq, Dr. Tabassum Sheikh, Professor Zedham Khan Sahab, Dr. Nisar Sheikh Sahab, Gurdev Sri Ravi Shankar ji, although he is not present here, but his blessings are with us, so he will be just his speech will be there. And Maulana Khalid Saifullah Rahmani Sahab, Professor Rajesh Kharat Sahab, Professor John Diyal Sahab, Maulana Hassan Nadvi Sahab, Principal Foundation for Global Peace, and Professor Afzal Wani Sahab, Professor Husina Hasha Sahiba, and all my dear friends, our teachers and our students. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I feel so much elated that the lights of Bombay are before me. The great people of Bombay, Zindadilani Bombay mere samne baithe. And the people who are the architects of the future of a nation, teachers, and we have philosophers, we have scientists, we have educators, and we have social activists as well amongst us, and journalists as well. So these are the people who make a nation. So to talk before them is always my pleasure. So we are just today talking about peace and the role of religion. If peace is absent, all the progress of humans will be stalled. But due to the materialistic considerations, modern man has lost their bus, and we find all-round violence has engulfed all parts of the world. The most vulnerable are the helpless millions and the plebeian masses who are suffering due to the widespread violence on this name or that name, and worst of it, on the name of religion against religion sometimes. Within the communities, there are many rifts and conflicts going on. The fields of blood, to take the coinage from Karen Armstrong, are visible from all the regions, and theories justifying bloodshed in the name of God, which make the whole situation very grim and pathetic. The role of religion in this whole process has become quite crucial. If we want to make peace to prevail, religions are to be presented in their true spirit, as they should become part of the solution and not the part of problem, which ostensibly is not the case. This time religion seems to be the part of problem, not of the solution. The example of Islam is very significant in this respect. Islam, though, is the great advocate of peace, but under the obnoxious campaign of Islamophobia, it is being presented as the antagonist of any peaceful agenda. Graham Fuller says about Islamic culture, I quote, "It is culture of profound intellectual, spiritual, cultural and social thought, but it is also a culture currently rubbed raw, best not grotesquely provoked at this sensitive stage in its development, and when it feels under existential threat. Such assaults against it only heighten its most atavistic and narrow aspects, sideline impulses for reform and moderation, and cause Muslims to circle the wagons," unquote. Same is the case with other religions, that these are being present in a biased manner, or the misdeeds and crimes of a fringe group or groups having no religious sanction for their unwanted acts are being projected as the true representatives of the religions. The scholars, intellectuals, clerics and clergy, spiritual and saintly personages are hotly visible with their reactions against all the anti-peace activities of the culprits, and allowing the minuscule minority to set the agendas and thus put whole humanity to peril. Therefore, in such a mosaic situation, there is a dire need for peace and harmony in society at national and international level. And for promoting peace and harmony, religion can play a vital role. In the perspective of religion, the dialogue and understanding is very vital. The term interfaith dialogue refers to cooperative, constructive and positive interaction between people of different religious traditions and also faiths or spiritual or humanistic beliefs at both the individual and institutional level. It is distinct from syncretism or alternative religion, as dialogue often involves promoting understanding between different religions or beliefs to increase acceptance of others rather than to synthesize new beliefs. We don't need new religion, we need to activate the actual religions and make those a source of inspiration for promoting peace in the world. Throughout the world, there are local, regional, national and international interfaith initiatives. Many are formally or informally linked and constitute larger networks or federations. The often quoted slogan, "There will be no peace among the nations without peace among the religions," was formulated by the Roman Catholic priest and theologian Dr. Hans Kunk, a professor of dogmatic and ecumenical theology at University of Tübingen. Some interfaith dialogues have more recently adopted the name interbelief dialogue, while other proponents have proposed the term interpath dialogue to avoid implicitly excluding atheists, agnostics, humanists, and others who with no religious faith but with ethical or philosophical beliefs. So we have to include those people in this dialogue process. Similarly, pluralistic rationalist groups have hosted public reasoning dialogue to transcend all worldviews. And here we find Islam has talked about kalimatu sawa. Ya ahlul kitab ta'alu ila kalimati sawa bainana wa bainakum. O people of the book, let us come to the common terms which are between you and us. Let us not start from the differences but from the similarities, and there are many. To some, the term interreligious dialogue has the same meaning as interfaith dialogue. To the World Council of Churches, interreligious refers to the action between different Christian denominations. So interfaith refers to interaction between different faiths, such as Muslims and Christians or Jews, for example. In the dialogue of the head, now there are different types of dialogue. One is dialogue of the head. We mentally react out to the other to learn from whole think differently from us, who think differently from us. In the dialogue of the hands, we all work together to make the world a better place in which we must all live together. In the dialogue of the heart, we share the experience of the emotions of those who are different from us. Interreligious dialogue in contemporary society is conducted to create better relationships between people belonging to different religions by bringing them together in dialogue. It thus aims to establish peace and harmony in a society which has been devastated by religious conflicts. There are several important aspects in dialogue in this regard. So we can understand that the content about interreligious understanding in our major religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Jainism, Sikhism and Islam, or we can understand those at philosophical level as well. Then we need to take stock of the fact that there might have been attempts made by our earlier generations of scholars and ulama and the saints to promote such understanding, and what were the parameters of religious phenomenon in general, and what insights we can get from luminaries like Mahatma Buddha, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Ibn Hazm, Shahristani, Mullah Mohsin Fani, and Al-Biruni, apart from the prophets and the great saints from earlier times, and Nehru, Gandhi, Ambedkar, and Azad in present times. So with this background, Institute of Objective Studies and Momin College for Women, we have organized this conference, and alhamdulillah, we have received good response from all over the world. People from USA, from Malaysia, and from other countries also have joined us online, and then good response from our own country to this initiative. It seems that if there is no dialogue, there is deadlock. But we have to break the deadlock now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Marazi. May I now request Dr. Tabassum Sheikh Madam to kindly introduce the inaugural speaker. Dr. Tabassum Sheikh Ma'am.
Yes, in 5 minutes time, we will be having Sri Ravi Shankar joining us online.
In the meantime, you can ask Maulana Khalid to deliver his keynote address. Once Shri will join, we will introduce him and let him speak.
So, Rahmani sir is there online?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Since it will take some time for Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar to join, we will ask Maulana Khalid Saifullah Rahmani to come online and deliver his speech. But before that, we would like to introduce that we are very, very fortunate enough, our college and IOS, Institute of Objective Studies, that we had no less than a person of the stature of Saifullah Rahmani Sahab. And he has agreed to give the inaugural speech, to give the keynote address. Saifullah Rahmani, the General Secretary of All India Muslim Personal Law Board, consented for this program, and it's an honor for our institute, our campus, our college to have him as the keynote addressee for this program. He is an Indian Muslim scholar, as most of us know. He has written a lot of work has been done by him. People, when they view Muslim personal law board, they view as something which is something concerned with particular religion. Yes, of course, it has to be concerned that way only. But let me tell you that this person, the General Secretary, has a lot of wisdom in contributing towards a lot of philosophical work also, towards a lot of Islamic work as well. So religion and philosophy has blended in his work.
In the meanwhile, Sri Ravi Shankar has joined.
Okay.
So let him speak.
So let Sri Ravi Shankar.
Go introduce him.
Sorry, this is the thing of the blended form, that since Sri Ravi Shankar has joined, we will introduce Sri Ravi Shankar as well, because that was the chronological order. So Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar, we all know, is a revered spiritual and humanitarian leader. He has unprecedented following all over the world. He has a movement, a stress-free movement which he gives and which he prepares himself with. Over estimated 450 million people are his followers, and we are indeed fortunate that Sri Ravi Shankar has joined us, and he will be addressing us, he will be giving us the keynote address. He has played a vital role in peace negotiations globally, from Kashmir to Assam, from Bihar in India to Colombia, Kosovo, Iraq, Syria, and he has programs and which leaves a very, very strong impact on people, and that is the reason that he has such a vast following all over the globe, all over the world, and he has been conferred with so many awards by the government, by the United Nations organization, and his contribution is peace, and that is what he is known for. He has been conferred with the highest civilian award of Colombia, Mongolia, Paraguay. He is the President of India, has bestowed him upon the Padma Vibhushan, the country's highest annual award for exceptional and distinguished peace. He has been conferred 23 honorary, imagine 23 honorary doctorates globally, PhD in 23 subjects. So Gurudev travels to nearly 40 countries a year, and these 40 countries which he travels is with only a very simple message, the message of peace. So over to Gurudev Ravi Shankar. Indeed, it's a pleasure to have you, sir. You can please start your inaugural address.
Namaste to everybody. I'm so delighted to be with you all the dignitaries on the dais and all the other dignitaries have joined for this basic need of today, that we are all connected. The interreligious, interfaith communities understanding about one human life, one humanity, and one globe as one human family. When there are forces who divide us, who create wedge between the communities and families and individuals, today there is a need for people to unite them, and I am sure all of us who are present here and who are listening to us, we all have one intention: to bring peace, to bring happiness. See, tomorrow is International Happiness Day. Actually, every day is a happiness day. हर रोज खुशी का दिन होनी चाहिए, but कम से कम एक दिन तो पूरी दुनिया में सब लोग एक खुशी का दिन, संतोष का दिन ऐसा मना रहे हैं. What is most important in our life is happiness, and how to spread that happiness, bring happiness to others. In the ancient Vedic tradition, it is said the best form of worship is to create happiness in the hearts and minds of people. Santosham janit pragya tadev ईश्वर पूजन. ईश्वर की पूजा वही है जो सबके दिल में खुशी फैला दे, संतोष लेके आए, खुशी पैदा करे. ये सच्चा इबादत है, और हम सब लोग इबादत करने वाले हैं, सब ईश्वर को मानने वाले, और जो नहीं मानने वाले हैं वो भी ये मानते हैं व्यक्ति एक दूसरे को प्रेम से, मोहब्बत के साथ प्रेम से जिए। और जीवन बहुत क्षणिक है। The life on our planet of an individual's life is very short. In the short span of life, we have an option either to be upset, to create disturbance to others, or to create happiness and peace for one and all. So, I'm glad that so many of you have joined today here with this pure intention of creating understanding and dialogue between communities and creating peace. Now, when someone says, my God, my faith, my belief is better than yours, that is where we get into trouble. You know? So what we need to recognize is the divine of God himself has given so many different faiths, so there must be a reason. God does not want everyone to put on the same uniform. He loves diversity. I think nature loves diversity. And that's why we have so many different types of fauna and flora. इस प्रकृति में, संसार में इतने तरह तरह की विविधता है, इसीलिए कि ईश्वर विविधता को पसंद करता होगा। नहीं तो एक ही आलू पैदा करके को बोलते सब लोग यही जिंदगी भर खाते रहो। नहीं, कितनी तरह की सब्जी है, कितनी तरह के फूल है, कितने तरह के आदमी है, कितने तरह के विचारधाराएं हैं। यही दर्शाता है, जो करता है वो विविधता को पसंद करता है। और इन सब विविधता के बीच में हमें जीना है और जीवन को ऐसा सुगम बनाना है। ये लक्ष्य है सभी धर्म का। हमें इस बात पर याद पूरी तरह से यकीन करनी चाहिए, हर एक के भीतर कुछ अच्छाई है। There is some goodness in everybody, in every heart. Let us find out, let us उसका तलाश करें। एक एक व्यक्ति के भीतर वो अच्छाई है, उसको उभारें, फिर उसकी बुराई अपने आप गिर जाएगा, उसकी जो गलत चीजें हैं अपने आप हट जाएगा। तो ये धार्मिक लोग ही कर सकते हैं, और जो इंसानियत पर विश्वास रखते हैं वही लोग ये काम कर सकते हैं। कोई कानून से नहीं होगी ये काम, दिलों को जोड़ने वाली बात दिलदार लोगों से ही हो पाएगा। तो मैं इतना ही कहूंगा, हम ये मान के चलें, हम सब में ये बात है कि हम एक दूसरे का सम्मान करते हैं और एक दूसरे को चाहते हैं, और जीवन में प्यार की कोई कमी नहीं। नफरत को दूर करने के लिए तनाव मुक्त जीवन की जरूरत है। तनाव से होने पर नफरत अपने आप आ जाता है, घर में भाई भाइयों में आ जाता है, और आपस में बाप बेटी में आ जाता है। ये सब का कारण तनाव। इसलिए हमें तनाव मुक्त जीवन और एक ऐसे आपस में भाईचारा का ये मजबूत एक कड़ी, हमें इसको रिकॉग्नाइज करके, इसको पहचान करके हमें आगे बढ़ना चाहिए। तो यह मुझे पूरा यकीन है, भरोसा है, आप सब लोग इसी विचारधारा में आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। अब देश और दुनिया में देखिए कितना खलबल मचा हुआ है, इतना आतंक मचा हुआ है, इतना दुख है, और इन सब परिस्थिति में हम लोगों जो अभी कर रहे हैं इसका बहुत मायने रखता है। हम सब लोग मिलके ऐसी समाज में एक संदेश दें, हम सब साथ हैं। अलग अलग तरह की इबादत करने की हम लोगों की आदत है, परंपरा है, और इस सब परंपरा को हम सम्मान करते हैं। ये बात हमको अच्छे से लाना पड़ेगा। देखिए, भगवान एक होने पर भी उनको पूजा करने की विधान विविध है, बहुत तरह से हम करते हैं। और इस बात को लेके हमें किसी भी तरह का मन मुटापा, एक दूसरे के भीतर एक नफरत पैदा करेंगे तो हम धर्म से बहुत दूर चले जाएंगे। धर्म का सार है, संदेश है प्यार, अहिंसा, प्यार, भाईचारा, और जीवन को एक विशाल दृष्टिकोण से देखेंगे तो लगेगा अरे हमारा जीवन तो क्षणिक है, 2-4 घड़ी की जिंदगी है, इसमें प्यार की लफ्ज बोलने के लिए समय नहीं है, कहाँ नफरत लेके चले हम लोग। इस बात को हम घर घर पहुंचाएं और सबको हमारी तरफ से बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, नमस्कार। आप इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का ऑर्गेनाइजर्स बहुत मेहनत करके कर रहे हैं, ऐसी जो है ना संदेश देश के कोने कोने में, दुनिया के कोने कोने में जाना चाहिए। इतना ही कह के मैं आप सबको फिर एक बार प्रणाम करूंगा। नमस्कार।
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind, peaceful words, and thank you for gracing our occasion. I now introduce Maulana Khalid Saifullah Rahmani Sahab. He is an Indian Muslim scholar, author, and jurist I have mentioned before. He serves as the General Secretary of All India Muslim Personal Law Board. He is the General Secretary of the Islamic Academy of India. He has authored books on the Islamic jurisprudence, introduction and codification, and the book of Fatwa. He has received his primary education and studied at Madrasa Qasimul Ulum Hussainiya for 2 years. He has been with the Darul Ulum Deobandi sect for many years. Maulana Rahmani has taught at Madrasa Sabilus Salam, where he has been appointed as the head of the teacher, and for 22 years he went on to establish Al-Mahad Al-Islami in Hyderabad. He has also helped to found institutions such as Sabiul Falah and Madrasa Al-Falihat in Darbhanga, in Karnataka as well, in Andhra Pradesh as well. Maulana Rahmani is a member of the All India Muslim Personal Law Board's Legal Council and the General Secretary of Islamic Fiqh Academy. He is a regular columnist in many of the Urdu newspapers. He was appointed as the interim General Secretary of All India Muslim Personal Law Board following Wali Rahmani's death. And here we have a person of his caliber who has written so many books, or so many scholarly books, and we can say, which have very good thoughts, which touches the very core of Islam. Rahmani Sahab, you can please proceed and deliver your keynote address.
Allah के नाम से जो बेहद मेहरबान और निहायत रहम करने वाला है, जिसने हम सबको पैदा किया और हमारे लिए, हमारी जिंदगी के लिए यह खूबसूरत कायनात, ये रोशन सूरज और चांद, यह हरे भरे दरख्त और खेतियां पैदा की और हजारों रहमतों में ईश्वर के आखिरी दिन जनाब मोहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम पर, जिन्होंने इंसानी वहदत का दर्स दिया, जिन्होंने गरीबों से मोहब्बत करना सिखाया और जिन्होंने इंसानों के दरमियान मसनूई और बनावटी बड़े छोटे का तसव्वुर था उसको खत्म किया और मसावात और बराबरी की तालीम दी। मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ इन दोनों इदारों का, IQAC का اور مومن ویمنس کالج کا کہ اتنے اہم موقع پر یہ کانفرنس رکھی گئی ہے. ہمارے دیش کے اس وقت جو حالات ہیں اور پورے وشو کے جو حالات ہیں ان میں اس بات کی بہت ضرورت ہے کہ اس موضوع پر ہم لوگ بار بار بیٹھے، خاص کر مختلف دھرموں کے مختلف مذاہب کے گروپ، اساتذہ، رہنما اور ہمارے ملک کے دانشور انٹلیکچوئلس، وہ اس پر آپس میں بات کریں، اتحاد کا، محبت کا، بھائی چارے کا پیغام مانوتا تک پہنچائیں. میرے بھائیوں، اس سلسلے میں اسلام کے 3 بنیادی تصورات کو پیش کرنا چاہتا ہوں. پیغمبر اسلام جناب محمد رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے اپنے آخری اسپیچ میں جو آپ نے حج کے موقع سے دیا تھا اور جس کے 80-82 دنوں کے بعد آپ اس دنیا سے رخصت ہو گئے، اس میں آپ کی سوچ، آپ کی فکر، آپ کی دعوت کا خلاصہ بہت مختصر الفاظ میں سمجھ دیا گیا ہے. آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے لوگوں کو خطاب کرتے ہوئے فرمایا، ان ربکم واحد وان اباکم واحد. یاد رکھنا، تم سب کا خدا، تم سب کا رب، تم سب کو پیدا کرنے والا اور تم سب کو پالنے والا ایک ہی. اور یہ بھی یاد رکھنا کہ تم سب ایک ہی باپ کے اولاد، ایک خدا اور ایک ماں باپ. یہ انسانی رشتے کو، پوری دنیا کے انسانوں کو ایک دوسرے سے جوڑتے ہیں. قرآن مجید نے کہا ہے، یا ایھا الناس اتقوا ربکم الذی خلقکم من نفس واحدہ وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء. اے لوگوں، اپنے پروردگار سے ڈرو جس نے تم سب کو ایک ہی جان سے پیدا کیا. کوئی اپنی پیدائش کے اعتبار سے بڑا یا چھوٹا نہیں، اسی سے اس کا جوڑا پیدا کیا، یعنی ایک مرد پیدا کیا اور پھر ایک عورت پیدا کی، اور ان دونوں سے ڈھیر سارے مردوں کو اور عورتوں کو کائنات میں پھیلا دیا. تو قرآن مجید کا خدا کے بارے میں تصور یہ ہے کہ خدا ایک ہے اور کوئی انسان خدا نہیں. جب خدا ایک ہے اور تمام انسان خدا کے پیدا کیے ہوئے ہیں تو اس سے برابری اور مساوات کا تصور ہوتا ہے. اگر ہم انسانوں کے کسی گروہ کے بارے میں یہ سمجھیں کہ ان کی خدا سے خاص رشتہ داری ہے، ان کو وہ خدا کے پیٹ سے پیدا ہوئے، یا ہم کسی کے بارے میں یہ سمجھیں کہ خدا نے اس کو اپنے سر سے پیدا کیا، اور کسی کے بارے میں یہ سمجھیں کہ خدا نے اس کو اپنے پاؤں سے پیدا کیا، تو انسانی برابری کا تصور مجبور ہو جائے اور انسانوں میں بڑے چھوٹے کا امتیاز پیدا ہو جائے. تو اللہ تعالیٰ کی توحید اور خدا کو ایک ماننا، اس میں انسانی وحدت کا پیغام ہے. خدا بھی ایک ہے اور تمام انسان بھی ایک ہے. اسی لیے حضور صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے اپنے خطبے میں دونوں باتوں کو جوڑ کر ارشاد فرمایا، ان ربکم واحد وان اباکم واحد. تمہارے پروردگار بھی ایک ہے اور یاد رکھنا کہ تمہارے ماں باپ بھی ایک ہی ہیں. ایک ہی ماں باپ کی تم اولاد. ایک ہی ماں باپ کی تم سنتان، اس سے مفاہمت کا بہت بڑا میدان حاصل ہوتا ہے، کیونکہ ہمیشہ سماج میں جو دوریاں پیدا ہوتی ہیں، لڑائی ہوتی ہے، جھگڑے ہوتے ہیں، بدامنی پیدا ہوتی ہے، لوگ ایک دوسرے کی جان کے پیچھے پڑ جاتے ہیں، اس کا بنیادی سبب یہ ہے کہ آدمی اپنے کو دوسروں سے الگ سمجھتا ہے، آدمی اپنے آپ کو اونچا اور دوسروں کو نیچا سمجھتا ہے۔ تو قرآن میں بھی اور پیغمبر اسلام صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے بہت زور دے کر اس بات کو بتایا کہ تمہارا خدا بھی ایک ہے اور تمہارا ماں باپ بھی ایک ہے۔ اسلام نے ایک خاص تصور دیا۔ اسلام سے پہلے خاندانی تعلق، نسلی تعلق، رنگ و روپ، اس کو بڑائی اور چھوٹائی کا معیار بنایا گیا۔ خود عرب اس سرزمین جس میں آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم پیدا ہوئے، وہ غیر عرب کو حقارت کی نظر سے دیکھتے تھے، ان کو اجمی کہتے تھے، بے زبان اور گونگے کہتے تھے۔ اسلام نے یہ تصور دیا کہ جس چیز میں انسان کی اپنی کوشش اور محنت کا دخل نہ ہو، جو چیز اتفاق سے کسی کو حاصل ہو گئی، وہ انسان کی بڑائی کا معیار نہیں بن سکتا۔ اگر کوئی انسان گورا ہے، سفید نسل میں پیدا ہوا ہے، تو اس میں اس کے ارادے اور محنت کا کوئی دخل نہیں۔ اگر کوئی انسان کسی خاندان میں پیدا ہوا ہے، تو اس خاندان میں وہ اپنے ارادے سے اور اپنی کوشش سے پیدا نہیں ہوا۔ اس لیے ایسی چیز جس میں انسان کی محنت کا، اس کی کوشش کا، اس کی جدوجہد کا کوئی دخل نہ ہو، اس کو بڑے اور چھوٹے ہونے کا معیار نہیں بنانا سکتا۔ پیغمبر اسلام صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے اپنے آخری خطبے میں فرمایا، لا فضل للعربی علی العجمی ولا للابیض علی الاسود۔ کسی عربی کو عربی نسل سے تعلق کی بنیاد پر، غیر عربی پر، کسی گورے کو، کسی سفید فام کو چمڑے کی رنگت کی بنیاد پر سیاہ فام شخص پر کوئی فضیلت حاصل نہیں۔ ان اکرمکم عند اللہ اتقاکم، ہاں تم میں سب سے باعزت وہ ہے کہ جو سب سے زیادہ اللہ سے ڈرتا ہو، اللہ کے قانون کا عمل کرتا ہو، قانون کی پابندی کے ساتھ اپنی زندگی گزارتا ہے۔ یہ سب سے، یہ انسان کی بلندی کا معیار ہے۔ کہ جتنے مصنوعی اختلافات ہیں، نسل کی بنیاد پر، رنگ کی بنیاد پر، زبان کی بنیاد پر، مذہب کی بنیاد پر، جغرافیہ کی بنیاد پر، پیغمبر اسلام صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے ان بنیادوں کو ختم کر دیا۔ ظاہر ہے کہ جب اختلاف کی بنیادیں کمزور ہوئی اور اتحاد کا جذبہ ابھرے گا تو آپسی مفاہمت پیدا ہوگی اور ایک دوسرے کے ساتھ مل کر زندگی گزارنا آسان ہے۔ تو اللہ کی توحید کا تصور ہے انسانی وحدت کا تصور۔ تیسرا تصور جو قرآن میں دیا گیا ہے کہ ہر انسان بحیثیت انسان شریف، وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدم، ہم نے آدم کی اولاد کو یعنی تمام انسانوں کو شرافت اور بزرگی سے نوازا۔ قرآن میں یہ نہیں کہا لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا الْمُسْلِمِينَ، ہم نے مسلمانوں کو ہی صرف مکرم قابل احترام بنایا، ہم نے مومنین ہی کو قابل احترام بنایا، بلکہ قرآن نے پوری نسل انسانی کی عظمت اور شرافت کا تصور کیا۔ وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدم، اور اس اصول کو ہر جگہ اسلام میں بڑھتا گیا، یہاں تک کہ اگر انسان جنگ کے میدان میں اس کے دشمن نے اس پر حملہ کیا، اس نے اس پر غلبہ پا لیا، تب بھی پیغمبر اسلام صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے تعلیم دی کہ کوئی ایسا عمل اس کے ساتھ نہ کیا جائے جو انسانی شرافت اور عظمت کے خلاف ہے، جیسا کہ اسلام سے پہلے لوگ کرتے تھے اور آج بھی کرتے ہیں۔ تو اللہ تعالیٰ کی توحید کا تصور، انسانی وحدت کا تصور اور تمام انسانوں کو بحیثیت انسان قابل احترام اور قابل تقدیر ہونا کا تصور۔ چوتھا تصور قرآن نے یہ دیا کہ جو مذہب کا اختلاف ہے یہ ایک فطری اور نیچرل اختلاف ہے، اس اختلاف کو ہم اور آپ ختم نہیں کر سکتے۔ ظاہر ہے کہ پیغمبر اسلام صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم اسلام کی دعوت لے کر آئے تھے اور گلی گلی کوچہ کوچہ دروازے دروازے جا کر آپ نے اس دعوت کو لوگوں کے سامنے پیش کیا، اور آپ کی خواہش تھی کہ لوگ اس دعوت کو قبول کر لیں، لیکن قرآن نے کہا کہ یہ اللہ تعالیٰ کی مشیت میں لو شاء اللہ لجعلکم امۃ واحدہ، اگر اللہ کی یہ مشیت ہوتی کہ اس کائنات میں ایک ہی دھرم ہو، پوری دنیا سے اسی دھرم پر رہے، تو سب کو ایک مذہب میں پرو دیتے اللہ تعالیٰ، سارے کے سارے لوگ ایک ہی مذہب کے ماننے والے ہو جاتے۔ لیکن یہ اللہ تعالیٰ کی مشیت ہے۔ اللہ تعالیٰ نے جیسے دنیا کی چیزوں میں اختلاف رکھا ہے، پھلوں میں، پھولوں میں، درخت کے پتوں میں، فضاؤں میں، اسی طرح اللہ تعالیٰ نے انسان کی سوچ میں بھی اختلاف رکھا، اور اس اختلاف کی وجہ سے مذہب کے بارے میں، نظریات اور تصورات کے بارے میں اختلاف ہونا یہ ایک فطری چیز ہے، اور جو چیز فطرت کی طرف سے آتی ہے چاہے وہ آپ کو پسند نہ ہو لیکن اس کو قبول کرنا ہو۔ تو توحید کا تصور، انسانی وحدت کا تصور، انسانی شرافت و قیامت کا تصور اور اختلاف مذہب کو قبول کرنے کا تصور، یہ اسلام نے اور پیغمبر اسلام صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے کیا۔ اور جب آپ اس بات کو مان لیں گے کہ اس دنیا میں انسان کی سوچ کے اعتبار سے ایک سے زیادہ مذہب بھی ہو سکتے ہیں، تو آپ کے اندر برداشت کی قوت پیدا ہوگی۔ جن لوگوں سے آپ کا اختلاف ہے، اختلاف کو اپنی جگہ رکھتے ہوئے آپ ایک دوسرے کے ساتھ بہتر زندگی گزار سکتے۔ اسی لیے قرآن نے کہا لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا عليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين۔ اسلام سے پہلے ایک مزاج دنیا میں یہ تھا کہ جس دیش میں، جس ملک میں جس دھرم کا پالن کیا جاتا تھا صرف اسی دھرم کے ماننے والوں کو رہنے کی اجازت ہوتی تھی، دوسروں کے ساتھ دشمنی کا ماحول ہوتا تھا۔ تو قرآن مجید میں کہا کہ اللہ تعالیٰ تم کو اس بات سے نہیں روکتے کہ کوئی گروہ تمہارے مذہب کو نہیں مانتا ہو لیکن وہ تم سے لڑتا بھی نہ، اس نے تم کو تمہارے گھروں سے نکالا نہیں، تو تم ان کے ساتھ اچھا سلوک کرو، ان کے ساتھ منصفانہ سلوک کرو۔ اللہ تعالیٰ نے سبھی روکا، یعنی مسلمانوں کو یہ کرنا چاہیے کہ جو غیر مسلم ہمسائے ہیں، جو غیر مسلم بھائی ہیں، ان کے ساتھ بحیثیت انسان کے بہتر سلوک کرو۔ پیغمبر اسلام صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے اس کو اور زیادہ واضح کیا۔ امن کو جو چیز زیادہ نقصان پہنچاتی ہے وہ یہ ہے کہ سماج میں کسی کی زندگی کا احترام نہ کیا جائے، کسی کے مال و دولت کا احترام نہ کیا جائے، قتل ہو، لوٹ مار ہو، عزت و آبرو کی پامالی ہو۔ پیغمبر صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے فرمایا دماءکم کا دمائنا و اموالکم کا اموالکم، تمہارے جو غیر مسلم ہمسائے ہیں غیر مسلم بھائی ہیں، برادران وطن ہیں، جن کے ساتھ ایک امن اور معاہدے کی بنیاد پر تم رہ رہے ہو، تو یاد رکھنا جیسے اپنے خون کا احترام کرتے ہو، اپنی زندگی کا احترام کرتے ہو، اسی طرح ان کی زندگی کا بھی احترام کرو. جیسے اپنے مال کا احترام کرتے ہو، اسی طرح ان کے مال و دولت کا بھی احترام کرو. جیسے اپنی عزت و آبرو کو جس نظر سے دیکھتے ہو، ان کی بہن بیٹیوں ان کے ساتھ بھی ویسے ہی عزت کا اور احترام کا معاملہ کرو. مذہب کے اختلاف کی بنیاد پر کسی کو نقصان پہنچانا جائز نہیں. پیغمبر صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے فرمایا کہ جو ایسے غیر مسلم بھائی کو جس نے قتل کر دیا ہے، دنگا ہوا، فساد ہوا، قتل کر دیا، تو آپ نے فرمایا کہ وہ جنت کی خوشبو سے بھی محروم ہے. اور ایک آج موقع پر آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نے فرمایا کہ اگر کوئی شخص کسی غیر مسلم بھائی کا مال ناجائز طریقے پر لے، لوٹ لے، غصب کر لے، چوری کر لے، زور زبردستی سے لے لے، تو آپ نے فرمایا کہ میں قیامت کے دن اس غیر مسلم کی طرف سے فریق بن کر کھڑا ہوں گا اس مسلمان کے خلاف. تو اس سے اندازہ کیا جا سکتا ہے کہ اسلام کتنا زیادہ بین مذہبی مفاہمت کو چاہتا ہے. اسلامی تعلیم کی بنیاد توحید پر ہے، اللہ کو ایک ہونے پر، محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کو اللہ کے رسول ہونے پر. لیکن انسانی بھائی چارہ، انسانی برادرانہ سلوک، ایک دوسرے کے ساتھ اچھا رویہ، بہتر اخلاق، اس کی بنیاد مسلمان ہونے پر نہیں، انسان ہونے پر، بلکہ اللہ کی کوئی بھی مخلوق ہو اس کے ساتھ بہتر سلوک کرنا، یہ ہمارا اسلامی اور شرعی فریضہ ہے. اس وقت جب کہ کچھ لوگ ہر جگہ نفرت کی آگ لگا رہے ہیں، انسانوں اور انسانوں کے درمیان اختلاف پیدا کر رہے ہیں، ہمارا سماج، ہندوستان کا سماج پوری دنیا میں جس کی شہرت اور عزت مذہبی ہم آہنگی، ایک دوسرے کو برداشت کرنے اور بھائی چارے کی وجہ سے تھی، اور اسی سے ہمارا دیش پہچانا جاتا تھا. اسی کی وجہ سے ہمارے دیش کو دنیا کی سب سے بڑی جمہوریت کہا جاتا تھا. بڑا افسوس کی بات ہے کہ آج اس دامن کو داغدار کرنے کی کوشش کی جا رہی ہے. آگ کو آگ سے نہیں بجھایا جا سکتا، آگ کو پانی سے بجھایا جا سکتا ہے. ضرورت اس بات کی ہے کہ آج کے ماحول میں جب نفرت کی آگ سلگائی جا رہی ہے، ہم محبت کی شکلوں سے اس کو بجھانے کی کوشش کریں. ہم اپنے اس ملک کو ایک ہندوستانی ہونے کی حیثیت سے جوڑنے کی کوشش کریں، بھائی چارہ پیدا کریں، انسانوں کو محبت سکھائیں، غریبوں کے کام آئیں، ایک دوسرے کے دکھ درد کا خیال کریں. اس میں ہم مسلمانوں سے بھی بہت کوتاہی ہوتی ہے کہ ہم کو جس طرح اپنے غیر مسلم ہمسایوں اور غیر مسلم بھائیوں کے ساتھ پیش آنا چاہیے، ان کی ضرورتوں میں کام آنا چاہیے، ہم نے اس اسلامی طریقے کو اور رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کے بتائے ہوئی گائیڈ لائن کو چھوڑ دیا. تو میں بہت مبارکباد دیتا ہوں اس پروگرام کے منعقد کرنے والے ان دونوں اداروں کو. آپ نے بہت اچھا قدم اٹھایا ہے. ضرورت تو اس بات کی ہے کہ پورے ہندوستان میں اس وقت ہر شہر میں، ہر چھوٹے بڑے شہر میں اس طرح کا بین مذہبی پروگرام رکھا جائے. اس میں مختلف مذاہب سے تعلق رکھنے والے اسپیکر بھی ہوں اور مختلف مذاہب سے تعلق رکھنے والے سامعین بھی ہوں. اللہ اس کو آسان کرے، ہمارے دیش کو ہمیشہ محبت سے، بھائی چارے سے آباد رکھے اور ہم کو ایک دوسرے کی قدر کرنے، عزت کرنے، احترام کرنے کی توفیق عطا فرمائے. وصلی اللہ علی خیر خلقہ محمد وعلی آلہ وصحبہ اجمعین والحمد للہ رب العالمین.
Thank you to Maulana Rahmani Saab for giving us the keynote address. Moving on with the program, with immense pleasure and privilege, we would like to invite Professor Imtiaz Yusuf, Associate Professor, ISTAC, Malaysia, for giving us the guest of honor speech. It is a matter of privilege for us to have Professor Imtiaz Yusuf in this program. Professor Yusuf is the coordinator for the Islamization of Knowledge Program and Islam and Buddhism program at the International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization, Kuala Lumpur. Professor Yusuf specializes in religion, focusing on Islam in Thailand and Southeast Asia, and also the Muslim-Buddhist dialogue. Sir is a prolific writer and has many publications to his credit, such as Building Muslim-Buddhist Understanding, the Parallels of Taqwa Allah Consciousness in the Quran, and Satipatthana Mindfulness in the Anapanasati Sutta, and also Islamic Theology of Religious Pluralism, Building Islam-Buddhism Understanding, to name a few. Sir, we welcome you to this august gathering and invite you to address all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Namaste and Sat Sri Akal. First of all, I thank you all for inviting me and making my presentation. I want to thank Professor Hamidullah Marazi, who has requested me to join here, and the Institute of Objective Studies. Thanks also to Dr. Nisar Sheikh, Dr. Tabassum Sheikh of the Konkan Muslim Education Society, Rivandi. I'm glad to see my senior and colleague, my senior, Professor Akhtarul Wase, Dr. Edwin, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar, and Maulana Rahmani. Jazakumullah khair. Besides the introduction which was given about me, I need to say that I'm also a Kokni. I was born in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam, and my grandfather was the president of the Konkan of the Muslim Education Society of the Dapoli, which founded the National High School. I was educated. I'm glad to be with you in Rwanda. My last visit to Rwanda was in 1977. I had my early education high school education in Panjkani at the Anjuman Islam High School. Professor Marazi may not be knowing that. And I did my BA from Ferguson College in Pune University. And I did my MA in Aligarh Muslim University in Islamic Studies, where Professor Akhtarul Wase is from. And I did my PhD in Temple University in comparative religion, and I focus, as you said, on Islam and Buddhism. So let me say a word in Marathi. So I say, I understand Marathi. I would say, Mala Marathi kalwalte pan bolyala kathin hote. You can understand when I say that. So thank you very much. And I'm also glad to see that this is the first time in Konkan we are having a conference on interreligious dialogue. So I will be academic, and I'll make my presentation in a PowerPoint so that we can understand what I want to convey. So can you please let me share my PowerPoint? The person who's handling I'm disabled to present. Okay, good. Thank you very much. Let me know if you are not able to see the PowerPoint. Can you see this PowerPoint? Just confirm to me, please. Yes? Okay. I'm going to talk about how to build inter-religious understanding. And my approach is phenomenology of religion, and I believe inter-religious dialogue should not be polemical. I see religions, as Maulana Rahmani said, as parallel lines of a railway track which never meet except at a meeting station, at a platform, or at a meeting station, and we converse with each other, members of different religions, and then we separate again to the next stage and to the higher stages. So we should not believe in superiority of any one particular religion. Because the Quran, as Maulana Rahmani also said before me, says, and the Quran says in Surah Al-Ma'idah, that had Allah willed, He would have made all of us a single community, but that is not what He willed. So compete with one another in doing good, fastabiqul khairat, so that when we return back to God at the end of our life, Allah will tell us, or God will tell us, why are we different? So we have to make the benefit of competing to do good, instead of engaging in polemics of religion. Today I have been, as a student of comparative religion in Temple University, I have seen and engaged in interreligious dialogue and understanding since 1980s, when nobody was talking about interreligious dialogue. In fact, at that time, study of religion was also very, very unknown. And when I entered the study of religion, my family said I would be unemployed. They said we will become a good polisher. Alhamdulillah, Allah had other things for me, and I graduated in comparative religion and Islamic studies. So I have seen and observed that crisis calls for dialogue, and we are talking about that here today in India because of the crisis which India is going through. And crisis of interreligious relations is made by people who exploit religion for political motives. And interreligious dialogue also takes place when a country becomes increasingly multi-religious, like it was started by John Hick in the UK. And also the beginning of the Christian, Muslim, Jewish interreligious dialogue at Temple University by Professor Ismail Al-Faruqi, my teacher, and Professor Leonard Swidler. Currently in Asia, we are in urgent need of dialogue to build interreligious understanding. We have to start with building understanding. For me, dialogue is a far cry. We have not yet reached that station because we are living in the state of the tyranny of religious majority, which creates the fear of small numbers, as very well described by Arjun Appadurai. And more recently, we have been seeing the flurry of promotion of interreligious dialogue in the West after 9/11. After 9/11 incident, people in the US rushed to the bookstores to buy the Quran to understand 9/11. Of course, you cannot find the answer for that in the Quran. And also with the influx of Muslim refugees in the United States after the wars, which were wars in the Muslim countries, which were led by the United States, such as in Afghanistan, Middle East, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Syria and other places, and now also in Ukraine. So we are seeing that whenever war takes place, people are calling for interreligious dialogue. But wars take place not for religious reasons, but for political reasons. Now let me talk a little bit about Indic religion's relations with Islam. And it is the relation between Islam and the Indic religions is what I describe as the case of mystic synthesis and social harmony. Only Muslim scholars engaged in the study of Indic religions. While in modern age, Asian and modern age scholars, historians, missionaries have unfortunately presented the coming of Islam to India as an assault or invasion. And this has been critiqued very well by Indian scholars like Romila Thapar in her book Somnatha, Richard Eaton, Manan Ahmad Asif in his book Cheshnama, and also by Agarsko on Islam, on Buddhism and Islam. So when we look at the history of Islam, we see that Muslims were early pioneers of the study of comparative religion. When no other religion was engaging in the study of other religion, from the 11th to 13th century, we have the case of Al-Biruni, who wrote Kitab al-Tariq al-Hind. And he came to India, and he learned Sanskrit, he stayed in the Hindu temples, discussed with the priests, and wrote about Hinduism. And he said very well that he was presenting Hinduism as understood by the Hindus, though it may not be liked by the Muslims or Muslim followers. So we Muslims, we have to open our mind also, as we expect others to open their minds in understanding our religion, and we understand their religion. When I work on Islam and Buddhism, the next scholar who wrote on Buddhism is Abdul Karim al-Shahrastani, and he is regarded as the first pioneer of the history of religion. And he talked about the Buddha, and he regarded him as one of the 124,000 prophets, which we Muslims believe in. Then came the scholar Rashiddin al-Hamdani, who was a Jewish convert to Islam, who wrote Jami al-Tawari, and which is regarded as the first world history. And you'll be surprised to see that in his book and in his mission, he engaged artists to draw the story of Gautama Buddha. And this is a painting of Shakyamuni Buddha offering fruit to the devil from before on the night of enlightenment, before enlightenment. And the Buddha is presented on the right side, and he looks like a Muslim, and the Shaitan or Mara is on the left side. This is also a painting of where the Buddha was enlightened, of the forest of the peepal tree. And this is a painting also by Rashiddin al-Hamdani, commissioned by him and the Mughal emperor of the place where the Buddha entered into Mahaparinirvana, or no more rebirth. Then we come to India again. In 16th century, Mughal King Akbar engaged in dialogues with other religions, and he talked about Deen Ilahi, though it is condemned by many Muslims who don't see eye to eye with the idea of Deen Ilahi. But we cannot disrecognize his contribution. His grandson, great-grandson, Dara Shikoh, wrote a very important book, Majma al-Bahrain, in 17th century, of the confluence of the two of Islam and Hinduism. In the 19th century, we see Allama Iqbal writing, I'll come to him, also talking about Buddhism. While the first person to write a Western and a Christian story or history of Buddhism wrote in 1844 was a French scholar. What I'm trying to point here is that Muslims had engaged in dialogue with Indic religions much before the West. Unfortunately, we gave it up. While today, Christian-Buddhist dialogue is a vibrant movement, but not Muslim-Buddhist, Muslim-Hindu dialogue. And I'm glad that Maulana said that we need to start engaging in it. And actually, we should have started engaging in it much before. Now, the Allama Iqbal, in his Bounded Dara, wrote a poem called Nanak, a very interesting poem, and I'm going to read it for you. He says, "Qawm ne paygam Gautam ki zara parwah na ki, qadar na pehchani apne gohe yakdamiyan. Bad qismat rahi आवाज से हक से खबर, गाफिल अपनी पहल की शैफीनी से होता है शुजर. अश्करा उसने किया जो जिंदगी का राज था, हिंद को लेकिन ख्याल फलसफा पे नाज था. शमाए हक से जो मुनव्वर हुआ ये वो महफिल न थी, बारिश रहमत हुई लेकिन जमीन काबिल न थी. आशुद्र के लिए हिंदुस्तान गम खाना है, गम खाना है, दर्द इंसानी से इस बस्ती दिल बेगाना है. ब्राह्मण शर्शार है अब तक मैं पिंदार में, शमाए गौतम जल रही है महफिल अगयार में. खुद कला फिर बाद मुदत के मगर रोशन हुआ, नूर इब्राहिम से अजर का घर रोशन हुआ. फिर उठी आखिर सदा तौहीद के पंजाब से, हिंद को एक मर्द कामिल ने जगाया ख्वाब से. So we have the appreciation of the Buddha and Shri Guru Nanak in the poem of Allama Iqbal. He wrote another poem in Javednama titled Tasine Gautam or Gautam Buddha Ki Talimat, in which he summarizes the teachings of Gautam Buddha. that everything is impermanent, and we have what is important is our amal or our karma, and dharma and karma, which are eternal. I will skip all this and say that Muslims have recognized the Buddha as one among the prophets, because as Muslims we believe that besides the 25 prophets mentioned in the Quran, including Prophet Muhammad from the Semitic tradition, the Quran says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent his prophets in different places and in different languages, who taught the people in their languages, be it in China or be it in Punjab or be it anywhere else in different parts of the world. But when we come to interreligious dialogue in the modern age, it is mostly a Western initiative, with the Parliament of World Religions in Chicago in 1893, of which we are very familiar, where Swami Vivekananda gave a very great introduction to Hinduism, and then the World Council of Churches has been engaging in it, and the Second Vatican Council in 1965, which opened the Catholics to engage with other religions, especially through the document called Nostra Aetate. And Pope John XXIII, who was a very bright and enlightened Pope, said that this time Christianity and the Catholics or the Church had to open the windows and let the fresh air in. While here in South and Southeast Asia, where unfortunately the situation is this, that we identify each other by our religions, either by our ethnicity or by community. And communal riots in India, as studied in India for 12 years, have wreaked a havoc of destruction in India. And I don't want to see India destroyed, because even now I fear to go to India, because India has changed, and India is not the India which I knew, which I studied, and when I was in the high school in Panchgani, or when I studied in Pune and Aligarh Muslim University. But yet India has other scholars like Maulana Azad, Asghar Ali Engineer, who have contributed, Rajmohan Gandhi, and also here in Southeast Asia, former President of Indonesia, Abdul Rahman Wahid, have been engaging in interreligious dialogue. So Maulana Azad, I'm not going to read all the thing here, was talking about Wahadat-e-Deen, unity of religion at the metaphysical level with different Sharia. My professor, Professor Ismail Al-Faruqi, talked about Deen al-Fitra and meta-religion, which I would briefly describe as religion over religions. As again, former speakers have talked about, that we all are religious differently, but we are all same human, belonging to same humanity. Dr. Asghar Ali Engineer, all of whom you know very well, and he also talked about communal harmony in India, and he spent his whole life in struggling for that, and said the Quran promotes the values of adal, justice, ihsan, benevolence, rahma, compassion, and hikmah, wisdom. And for him, at the time when India was engaging and started engaging in communal discrimination, he presented, and also the world, he wrote a book titled Prophet Muhammad was a prophet of non-violence. So the goal of interreligious dialogue is to build interreligious understanding and not conversion. So what is dialogue? Dialogue is basically a conversation on a common subject between two or more persons with different views. And the purpose of dialogue is that each participant who engages in it, and I hope this conference will come to that result, they change and grow. Dialogue is not a debate, and in dialogue we listen to each other very closely and sympathetically so that we can change, but change can be disturbing, and dialogue is not a mission. Professor Swigler has laid down, my professor at Temple University, 10 rules of dialogue. Number one, enter into dialogue so that you can learn and grow, not to change the other. Be conscious of the need to allow the space to enter into discussion. Everyone must be honest and sincere without any hidden agenda. Everyone must be permitted to define their own religion, experience, and identity must be respected. Proselytizing or to conversion is not permitted in interreligious dialogue. Do not feel that you are the spokesperson for your entire faith. or that you ought somehow to know everything which everybody out there needs to know. Do not assume in advance where points of agreement or disagreement will exist. Everyone should be willing to be self-critical. All should strive to experience others' faith from within and be prepared to view themselves differently as a result of outside perspective. And in dialogue, that trust is a must. Dialogue, we are meeting here. I would be in Bhiwandi now, but we are engaging in this understanding, in this dialogue session through technology. Actually, the purpose of dialogue is to lead to liberation of suffering from the body and suffering of the earth. The global crisis, the climate crisis, and the pandemic are the results of the suffering of the earth. Human being has not been behaving as responsibility on the earth. That's why we are facing the scourge of coronavirus and climate change. There is also dialogue should lead to liberation because we have to end the suffering of self-victimization and also suffering due to violence, which happens with the wars every day. And today it is going on in Ukraine, which we put on the TV, and all news is about the war in Ukraine. So the role of interreligious dialogue, how do we, the people who are followers of religions, can do that? We have to rescue religion from the extremists, and religious moderates must stand up against prejudice, hatred, and advocate peaceful resolution of conflicts. Religious activists and scholars must promote authentic and culturally peace-based building, non-violent framework to eradicate ignorance, and resist social, cultural, and political obstacles that perpetuate stagnation and violence. So let me try to conclude here that religions play a dual role in history. They have been sources of conflict and also of cooperation. Interreligious dialogues help us to move away from the misunderstanding. Most of our misunderstanding is based on ignorance. So the purpose of interreligious dialogue is to build bridges. And engaging in interreligious dialogues is an opportunity to understand the deep wisdom of other religions. I study the wisdom of Buddhism all the time, so that I can understand Buddhism as a Muslim, and then internalize and understand, and it helps me to understand my own religion more deeply. Interreligious dialogue is often derailed by people who are opposed to it. There are many people within each community who are not in favor of interreligious cooperation. Interreligious dialogue is an important means of mutual accommodation and should take place from the State House or from the Rashtrapati Bhavan to the streets of Bhiwandi and Mumbai and Delhi or Karachi or New York or wherever we are. Interreligious dialogue should become a prominent feature of religious activity so that conflicts can be diffused. Peace building is very important, and interreligious dialogue it will lead to social, psychological, and political factors to remove as stresses behind the human bombs or those who engage in suicide bombing. Building interreligious harmony has to be supported with a political will. We are talking about interreligious dialogue, and building harmony is not enough. There should be political will on the part of every group and even the government to engage in it. And participants in dialogue should have a deep understanding of their own religion and resist economic, political, social forces which promote religious intolerance. As mentioned by Professor Marazi, there will be no peace among nations without peace among religions. And let me end by two more slides. The Dalai Lama has said, our prime purpose in this life is to help others. If you can't help them, at least don't hurt them. And of course, the final verse of the Quran is that it says, O mankind, we have created you male and female and made you into peoples or nations and tribes that you might come to know one another. Verily, the noblest of you in the sight of Allah or God is one who is deeply conscious of Him. Behold, God is all-knowing, all-aware. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Professor Imtiaz Yusuf, for such an in-depth analysis on your inter-religion dialogue. I'm extremely thrilled to take an opportunity to introduce our guest of honor, Professor Akhtarul Wase. Professor Akhtarul Wase is a former president of Maulana Azad University, Jodhpur, and a former professor of Islamic Studies. Sir taught at Jamia Millia Islamia Central University in New Delhi, where he remains Professor Emeritus. Professor Wase was appointed by Indian President Sri Pranab Mukherjee to a 3-year term as Commissioner for Linguistic Minorities in India and became the first Urdu-speaking commissioner since 1957. Sir is the editor of 4 prestigious Islamic journals. Professor Akhtarul Wase is a recipient of many prestigious awards. Sir has received award from Urdu Academy, Delhi, and UP Urdu Academy on Sir Sayyid Ki Taaleem-e Tehreek in 1985. Fulbright Fellowship in 2008, Padma Shri Award from President Pranab Mukherjee of India in 2013, to name a few. I invite Professor Akhtarul Wase Sahab with this couplet, सहने चमन को अपनी बहारों पे नाज था, सहने चमन को अपनी बहारों पे नाज था, वो आ गए तो सारी बहारों पे छा गए. प्रोफेसर अख्तरुल वसे साहब.
बहुत शुक्रिया. शुरू करता हूँ अल्लाह के नाम से जो रब्बुल आलमीन है, रहमान रहीम है, मालिक यौमिद्दीन है. हम जिसकी इबादत करते हैं और जिससे मदद चाहते हैं. दुरूद सलाम उसके नबी बरहक सैयदुल मुरसलीन, खातिमुन नबीन, शफीउल मुज़नबीन, रहमतुल लिल आलमीन, हुजरे गुंबद खिदरा के मकीन जनाब अहमद मुस्तफ़ा मोहम्मद मुस्तफ़ा सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम, उनकी आल और असहाब पर. काबिल सद एहतराम प्रोफेसर ज़ेडम खान साहब, गुरुदेव श्री श्री रवि शंकर जी, प्रोफेसर परमवीर सिंह जी, हज़रत मौलाना खालिद सफुल्लाह रहमानी साहब, जॉन दयाल साहब, हमीद बरादी साहब, प्रोफेसर हसीना हशिया साहिबा, मैडम तबस्सुम शेख साहिबा, प्रोफेसर बानी साहब, और सबसे बढ़ के मेरे दोस्त इम्तियाज यूसुफ साहब, जिन्होंने इंतहाई आलिमाना, गैर जानिबदाराना और इंतहाई मारूजी खुतबा आपके सामने पेश किया. मैं मुबारकबाद देता हूँ इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ऑब्जेक्टिव स्टडीज को, मोमिन कॉलेज भिवंडी को, उसके और दोनों के जिम्मेदारों को, और खास तौर से डॉक्टर मंजूर आलम साहब को, जिनकी ज़हनी काविशों के नतीजे में हम अक्सर बेशतर सर जोड़ के बैठते हैं और इस तरह के मौज़ूआत पर तबादले ख्यालात करते हैं. साहबो, मुझे ये कहने की जरूरत नहीं, आप सब इससे वाकिफ हैं. हर आदमी कह चुका है, हर दानिशवर ने, हर रोशन ख्याल मुकर्रिर ने अपनी बात कही है. और मुझे ये कहने की इजाजत दीजिए कि आज से बेहतर कोई जमाना इस तरह के प्रोग्राम के लिए नहीं था. पहली बात तो ये हमें समझनी चाहिए कि हम जिस जमाने में जी रहे हैं वो न मुजादले का जमाना है, न मुनाजरे का जमाना है, बल्कि मुकालमे का. इसी बात को हमारे दोस्त इम्तियाज यूसुफ ने भी कहा कि पॉलिटिकल नहीं होना चाहिए. दूसरी बात जो है वो ये कि आज लोग टॉलरेंस पे बहुत जोर दे रहे हैं. मेरे नजदीक टॉलरेंस वर्चू नहीं, बल्कि एक तरह से मजबूरी का मामला है. हमें टॉलरेंस की जगह एक्सेप्टेंस को इख्तियार करना चाहिए. और एक बात को बखूबी जानना चाहिए कि माफ कीजिएगा, मजहबी तकसीरियत जो है, रिलीजियस प्लूरलिज्म जो है, वो मेरी और आपकी वजह से नहीं, ये खुदाए बुजुर्ग बरतर की मर्जी, मंशा और मशकियत का नतीजा है. वरना हम सबका अकीदा है इन्नल्लाह अला कुल्लि शैइन क़दीर. वो बड़ी कुदरत वाला है और ऐसी कुदरत वाला है कि अगर वो चाहता تو سب کو ایک سانچے میں ڈال دیتا اور ایک ہی مذہبی فکر کا پیرو بنا دیتا، لیکن اس نے یہ نہیں کیا، اور آپ کے میرے ذہن و ضمیر کی آزادی پر اس بات کو چھوڑا کہ ہم جو راستہ چاہے اختیار کریں۔ اب سوال یہ ہے کہ پھر میرے اپنے مذہب کی کیا اہمیت رہ جاتی ہے؟ یہ سوال ہے جو لوگ کرتے ہیں۔ مجھے یہ عرض کرنا ہے کہ میرا کام حکمت کے ساتھ، دانائی کے ساتھ، متانت کے ساتھ جو ہے لوگوں تک حق کو پہنچا دینا ہے اپنی دانش ہی، اس کو ماننا نہ ماننا ان کی مرضی پہ منحصر۔ ہمارا کام وہی ہے جو پیغمبروں کا تھا۔ پیغمبر کے معنی کیا ہوتے ہیں؟ میسنجر کے ہوتے ہیں۔ رسول کے معنی کیا ہوتے ہیں؟ کمیونیکیٹر کے ہوتے ہیں جی۔ تو ہمارا
Wasi sir, please unmute
Sir,
your mic.
actually, Professor Akhtarul Wasi sir, we are not able to hear you, sir. Professor Akhtarul Wasi sahab.
Stop.
Sir, due to technical error, I guess.
کرنا چاہیے جس طرح سے آپ چاہتے ہیں کہ دوسرا آپ کے عقیدے کے ہاتھ کو تسلیم کرے، یہ بہت ضروری چیز ہے۔ اس بات کا ہمیں خیال رکھنا چاہیے، اور آج جو اصل چیز ہے، میں مبارکباد دیتا ہوں ٹوکن مسلم سوسائٹی بھیونڈی کو بھی، انسٹیٹیوٹ آف آبجیکٹیو اسٹڈیز کو بھی، کہ انہوں نے اس موضوع کو اس وقت خاص طور سے اختیار کیا، ہم سب کو جوڑا اور کہا کہ بات ہو، ہمیں بات کرنی چاہیے، لیکن ایک بات کا خیال رکھنا چاہیے کہ ہمیں جس طرح سے حساسیت، سینسٹیوٹی اور سینسیبلٹی اپنے ریلیجن کے بارے میں ہم رکھتے ہیں، اسی طرح دوسروں کو بھی یہ حق دینے کی ضرورت ہے۔ یہاں پر بات ہوئی، مسلمانوں نے ہندوستان میں یہ کام پہلے دن سے کیا۔ ابھی تذکرہ ہوا کتاب الہند کا البیرونی، یہ اکبر کے کوششوں کا، دار شکوں کی کوششوں کا۔ میں اگر اجازت دے ہمارے دوست امتیاز یوسف، تو ان سے عرض کروں ایک بڑا نام سر سید کا بھی، جنہوں نے قرآن کی تفسیر ہی نہیں کی بلکہ انجیل کی تفسیر بھی کی، اور ان کی تفسیر پر باقاعدہ ہم سب جانتے ہیں کہ کس طرح سے لندن یونیورسٹی میں کام ہوا۔ ڈاکٹر کرسچین ڈبلیو ٹرول نے پورا مقالہ لکھا اور سر سید کے رویے کی تقریباً تعریف۔ سر سید نے ہمیں ایک بات جو چاہتے ہیں وہ ڈائیلاگ کے سلسلے میں بہت ضروری ہے، وہ یہ ہے کہ جس طرح ہم یہ نہیں چاہتے کہ دوسرا اپنے مذہب کی اینک لگا کر ہمارے مذہب کو دیکھے، وہی ہمیں بھی اپنانا چاہیے۔ سر سید نے تبیین الکلام کے اندر یہی رویہ اپنایا، اس کو ہمیں اپنے سامنے رکھنا چاہیے۔ آج ضرورت اس بات کی ہے کہ ہم صرف اپنے مذہب کے بارے میں فہم و ادراک کے معاملات طے نہ کریں، بلکہ دوسروں کے مذاہب کے بارے میں بھی اسی رویے کو اور ہمدردی کے ساتھ اپنا ضروری یہ ہے۔ اس بات کی میں گزارش کروں۔ میں ایک بات آپ سے عرض کروں، میں ہندوستان میں رہتا ہوں، ایک سیکولر جمہوریت کا حصہ، ایک ایسی سیکولر جمہوریت جہاں پر کہ مسلمان نہ حاکم ہے نہ محکوم ہے بلکہ اقتدار میں برابر کے شریک جی۔ اب اس سیکولر جمہوریت میں مجھے ایک بات کا بہت خیال رکھنا چاہیے، یہ نہیں ہو سکتا کہ ہندوستان تو سیکولر رہے اور میں نہ رہوں، یہ نہیں ہو سکتا، اس بات کو خیال رکھنا چاہیے۔ اور ایک بات کا اور خیال رکھنا چاہیے کہ ہندوستان کا سیکولرزم جو ہے وہ مغرب کے سیکولرزم کی طرح سے ریلیجس اور اینٹی ریلیجس نہیں، بلکہ اس کی بنیاد جو ہے وہ سرو دھرم سمبھاؤ کی نیتی پر ہے، اس کی بنیاد جو ہے لکم دینکم ولی دین پر ہے، اس کی بنیاد جو ہے لا اکراہ فی الدین پر ہے۔ اس بات کو بھی ہمیں پیش نظر رکھنا چاہیے. اس لیے ہمیں اپنے مذہبی عقائد پر قائم رہتے ہوئے دوسرے مذاہب کے لوگوں سے بات کرنی چاہیے اور ہمیں اس معاملے میں مغرب سے روشنی بھی لینی چاہیے, سبق بھی لینا چاہیے, کیونکہ مغرب کا معاملہ بھی وہی ہے کہ وہاں پر جو دانشور ہیں, مذہبی رہنما ہیں, ان کی سوچ ایک ہے, لیکن جو سیاسی طالع ازما ہیں ان کا معاملہ علیحدہ ہے. بقول جگر کے ضرورت اس کی ہے کہ ان کا جو فرض ہے وہ اہل سیاست جان, میرا پیغام محبت ہے جہاں تک پہنچے. مذہب دھرم جو ہے ان لوگوں کو جوڑنے کا کام کرتے ہیں, توڑنے کا کام نہیں کرتے. معاف کیجیے گا, ایک بات کہہ کے میں اپنی بات ختم کرنا چاہوں گا, اور میں معافی چاہتا ہوں اگر وقت لے رہا ہوں. ہندوستان میں ہمیں ہندو مذہب کا مطالعہ کرتے وقت جو اکثریت کا مذہب ہے یہ خیال رکھنا چاہیے کہ وہ کس طرح سے ہم لوگوں کو راغب کر سکتے ہیں اور ان سے سبق لے سکتے ہیں. میں مثال کے طور پہ آپ سے کہتا ہوں, جب ہندو دھرم کے مطابق دنیا کی تخلیق ہو رہی تھی, سرشٹی کی رچنا ہو رہی تھی, اس وقت ساگر منتھن ہوا. ساگر منتھن میں جو راکشس تھے وہ امرت لے بھاگے تاکہ مانوتا کا وناش ہو جائے. لیکن ایسے وقت میں شیو آگے آئے بھولے ناتھ بن کے, انہوں نے وش کو کنٹ گرہن کیا اور نیل کنٹ بن گئے. آج ہندو دھرم کے جو لوگ ہیں ان کو بھی یہ چاہیے کہ وہ شیو کے راستے کو اختیار کریں اور مانوتا کو بچانے کی بات کریں. آخر میں مسلمانوں سے بھی مجھے ایک بات عرض کرنی ہے اور اسی بات ختم کرنی ہے. آپ اس دنیا میں خاص طور سے غیر مسلم اکثریتی معاشروں میں, ملکوں میں اپنے لیے جو حقوق اور رعایتیں چاہتے ہیں, خدا کے لیے سب سے پہلے اپنے اکثریتی معاشروں میں اپنی غیر مسلم اقلیتوں کو دیجیے, تو آپ کی سرخروئی رب کے سامنے بھی ہوگی اور رب کے ذریعے بنائی گئی اس دنیا میں بھی آپ کو عزت کا مقام ملے گا. بہت بہت شکریہ.
Thank you, Professor Akhtarul Wase, for your talk. We are now honored to welcome Mr. John Bayal as the guest of honor in this conference. Mr. John Bayal is a human rights activist and a Christian political activist. He wears many hats, such as the member, National Integration Council, Secretary General of the All India Christian Council, and was also the past president of the All India Catholic Union. Mr. Dayal's expertise extends to journalism, having worked as a war correspondent in the Middle East, North Africa, South Africa, and Europe. He also worked as the editor and CEO of the Delhi Midday and was the treasurer of the Editors Guild of India. Mr. Dayal's passion for activism, kindled since early 1970s, found him working for the cause of displacement of tribal people, opposition to nuclear weapons, and has been outspoken on issues like communal polarization, bigotry, and the spread of hatred among religious communities. Mr. Bayal's investigations on human rights cases on Christians has earned him a place in many fact-finding cases and tribunals. Mr. Dayal has also been the recipient of the Manav Adhikar Paritoshik, that is the Human Dignity Award, in 2010. With extreme pleasure and privilege, we welcome Mr. John Dayal to this conference and invite him to address our gathering. Can we have Mr. John Bayal, please?
Thank you very much. I'm here. And I've been here since 10 o'clock, which is very good, because it has been my good fortune not only to see so many friends, but to listen to very deep conversations from very eminent personalities. I'm not an academic, although I've taught journalism at several universities and written some books on the subject. But I am deeply concerned with peace. I mean, harmony, relationship between people. Not for what it does to me in my lifetime, or to you in your lifetime, but what is the world and the India we want to leave for my children and my grandchildren, who, by laws of nature, are becoming more integrated. My son and my sister married a Hindu, a niece married a Muslim. I have grandchildren and grandnephews who are half Hindu, half Catholic, half Muslim, half Catholic, Telugus, Tamils, Malayalis mostly. A mixture representing India and to an extent representing the world. Because in the same house we do celebrate Eid, while Christmas, of course, Good Friday and Easter are coming. How do we differentiate between people? How do we learn to live together? I'm not here to give advice to Muslims or to Hindus or even to Christians. No, I'm here as a spokesperson of the Christian community, which is as guilty as well as any other community in creating divisions, as much as it is honored for the efforts to create unity. And I think there is something we need to understand. There is no religion on earth, irrespective of the name, whose flag is not splattered with the blood of innocents. There is no religion. As much as there is no God, a holy book, which has not preached peace, which has not preached the word of the Lord. And all of us are creations of the same forces, the same big force called God, and therefore cannot be differentiated on the basis of skin color, caste, or religion. That is the premise in which we work, and that is the goal towards which we yearn. I'm so happy that people have quoted from the Quran, international regulations and other issues to stress on this and to consolidate the platform on which this conference is throwing some light. But I would, at this stage, I am speaking towards the end of the morning session, point out that I'm in Delhi, still recovering from an accident and a big surgery. But I'm able to address you because the miracle of science, of the internet, of the ether, where physical distances have vanished, brought such disparate people together. My friend Varsi and my friend Dr. Manzoor, all of us together, and Dr. Wani, which is brought us people from Kuala Lumpur here with us. And yet the same media is also a vehicle of hate, of fake news, of hate tweets, of developing entire models of. Yesterday, I think, or day before, was the international recognition that Islamophobia is one of the major crises of the modern age. The UN response to this solution, India, as is its nature, has said no. There cannot be a year dedicated to the fight against Islamophobia or the recognition of Islamophobia. And that is the sort of crisis that we are facing in this country, in South Asia in general, and through that in the world. Political support for religious intolerance, for religious separation, using religion, dividing it to consolidate political power and through that economic power, because politics and economy are indivisible just now. It always have been. Nazi Germany, Hitler, had the great support of some of the biggest corporations and industries of his age, many of which continue to be big corporations today in steel and transport and all those other things, including escalators and lifts. These are the same corporations that subsidized Hitler's decimation, genocide of Jews, of Poles, of others, and ultimately of Germans who were not very in good health. So these are issues that we need to understand before we come to discussing dialogue. In India particularly, I come from South India, I just told you my genealogy, we have been in a dialogue of life. With Hindus for 2,000 years, or as long as Christianity has been India. With Muslims for 1,500 years, as long as Islam has been in India. For Buddhists, although they were wiped out from their homelands in South India. But still we continue to be in dialogue with them. And the Dalai Lama, I think, is older, so I will not call him a good friend, but he is benign and is very friendly towards me, very kind and very generous. With the Sikhs, I have been in a dialogue for years, decades. And I was also, from when I documented at great length the crisis in 1984 in Delhi and North India, a dialogue of life will live. Sometimes it ends up even in marriages, but even at other times, it ends up in an understanding how the other is different but similar. How we can live together in a very basic understanding of the laws that govern it. At a larger scale, this is also a dialogue that continues guaranteed by the Constitution of India. The Constitution, the IPC, do provide the platform. They set the rules in which we consolidate and formalize this dialogue. Under Jawaharlal Nehuru's plan, I continue to be, despite the insults being poured on him, he created the National Education Council with the promise to provide yet another platform where members of parliament or members of state assembly are not bound by the hopes of the political parties or the ideologies of their political parties or by money power, and they are free to express themselves as citizens of India, as human beings. He created the National Education Council. I've had the unique pleasure and privilege of being a member of it for 10 years formally, and I suppose I continue to be a member because the current regime has not dissolved the NIC, but it has not closed the NIC to order. For 7 years now, we've never met. Why? Something that we need to wonder. Is it something that people do not want national harmony? Is it something that people do not want a dialogue, lest it end up in understanding, lest it end up in peace, lest it end up in consolidation of people on the basis of their common suffering, their common poverty, their common piety, that they pick up the best of what they have and then create a front, a united front of people in India who can then ask for privileges of food, privileges of education without this current crises of uniforms and what have you. Is that the fear? Is that why the National Education Council is not met? And if it does not meet, if fora, including Parliament, in Parliament, the 85 members of the scheduled castes, chosen, elected by the people by law, because 15% of the seats are reserved for marriages, for ballots, as the ballot, for scheduled castes, as the ballot calls it. 7.5% are for Adivasis, scheduled tribes, as the ballot calls it. It's a huge thing, 120 members of Parliament, and yet they cannot struggle for their rights. How are they divided by political ideologies? How are they divided by manipulation and other issues? There's a solid block of members of Parliament. Muslims and Christians will keep on crying that the parliamentary representation is decreasing. But here is the two major communities, non-Hindu, we could call them, Dalits and Adivasis, with 120, 125 members of Parliament, even the Lok Sabha. not the Rajya Sabha. Together, there may be possibly 150 to 175, and yet they're totally politically disempowered. A bridegroom in Rajasthan cannot ride a horse before he is unseated by the upper class. A Dalit girl in Hathras is raped, and there is nobody to ask for justice for her. And we're not even talking of the atrocities against Muslims and Christians. So there is something that needs to be addressed, and we need fora in which we can discuss it. Because there is also an understanding that mankind does not want tension. Mankind does not want violence. Mankind doesn't want wars. And therefore, we need to be able to discuss and unite and oppose all these things, whether it is Ukraine, whether it is communal violence in India, in Karnataka, whether it is in Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, or wherever we wish that there were no violence at all. And therefore, I have a few suggestions, more than a theoretical discussion, which also I could participate. Like I have read deep into Interfaith Dialogue. I am a bit of a student of the Second Vatican, about the Christian effort over the last 1,000 years towards dialogue with others. Even during at the height of the Crusades, when Christian rulers and Muslim rulers were fighting for control of the Holy Lands, even then there was a little bit of dialogue. And the last 1,000 years, many of us have studied that history and derived some principles from that history. So what do we derive now to ensure that we create platforms not of conflict? The first part of the work goes on which we have to go to the Supreme Court or the High Court, where judgment would depend not on principles of justice, but on the composition of a particular bench or political exigencies, where the judge can say, you are right, but I'm moving in favor of your persecutor. So we have to devise platforms where we can discuss these things, extra-parliamentary platforms, even if the judicial bound yet by laws of parliamentary practice and by laws of justice to create it. Maybe there's a need to revive a People's Integration Council. Maybe there's a need for an Indian chapter of the World Congress of Religions, World Parliament of Religions. The place in Chicago where the great Vivekananda spoke, I also spoke 110 years later, pointing out how the world has changed in the 110 years, how the current people who are victims need also a voice to be heard. And they heard me, although back in India I faced the world. We need to therefore create right from the village to Parliament, revive these platforms for dialogue. Even in Parliament, there are caucuses, forums representing various groups. Can they be brought together? And people representing regions who are there, there's maybe a parliament there, be brought out of Parliament House into a coffee house or into a hall and say, can we here discuss issues which you may or may not want to discuss them in Parliament. They may or may not want to take to the International Court of Justice. They may or may not want to take to the United Nations Human Rights Council, where India is to be reviewed this year, and all of us are busy preparing UPRs. The Universal Periodic Reports of countries pointing out where the country has succeeded in honoring its commitments in the Parliament of India and to the United Nations Charter and treaty organizations, and where it has failed, where the internal structures, Supreme Court of India, the Human Rights Commission, the Minorities Commission, the Dalit Commission, and at the state level, where they have succeeded and where they have failed. Unfortunately, they have mostly failed. And we are trying to put together this data and see, let some sunlight fall on them. Where sunlight falls, where we are available for scrutiny, for study by the international community, by our own community, by our peers. Sunlight kills bacteria, germs, disease. It helps shed light on fissures. It helps seal and heal wounds. We want such blessed sunlight to fall on that. And let me conclude by saying something that the Second Vatican says, and something that is tied up with what is happening now, that the Vedas are to be taught at the school level. I am a strong supporter of the Vedas being taught to everyone at the school level, together with the Quran, the New Testament, the Gurani, Buddha's teachings, the Jain principles. What a wonderful role the child will have to understand the principles of all the religions, the urge for peace, for dialogue, the yearning for the ultimate, even before he has passed high school, even before he reaches adulthood. He will be a good citizen of India. So I want to oppose the teaching of the Vedas and the Gita. I would like it to be supplemented. We were just understood the physics all my life. Although in Hebrew, I learned from my own inner urges. But if you just can't learn physics without learning mathematics, without learning a bit of philosophy, physics and philosophy and mathematics ultimately joined together. You cannot learn one religious text without understanding everybody else. Other people's, as people have quoted, other people's learning from God. As you said, the Holy Prophet and peace be upon him, he did say, did he not? That people will write the almost everywhere in different languages, from the Mayans to the Japanese, to the Adivasis in Australia, to the people living in Greenland. And that is something that children need to understand. What is their form, maybe? And I commend to the IAS that they form a committee, maybe a panel, a research group, to create textbooks of inter-religious understanding, dialogue, which are available to NCRT and to others and are taught in all our schools and colleges and madrasas and Catholic reformatory and other institutions. Let us give to this country something that is universal, that is composite, that represents the crux of all the holy texts and of the Constitution. If we can do that, such seminars would have held great meaning. Meanwhile, let us also continue the seminars such as these because they bring knowledge to each other. Maybe I learned a little about the NSC from what I spoke, as much as I've learned so much from all of you, including the very academic piece from Kuala Lumpur. I wish you Godspeed, I wish you good health, I wish you riddance from COVID, and I wish you strength in this common search for peace. So, Godhead, blessings of God. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. John Bayal, sir. The next speaker that we have with us is Dr. Paramveer Singh, Professor at Harbans Singh Department of Encyclopedia of Sikhism, Punjabi University, Patiala. Dr. Singh's academic credentials include MA in Punjabi and Religious Studies and a PhD in Religious Studies. Dr. Singh is associated with many higher educational institutions in Punjab in the capacity of Board of Studies. Dr. Singh is the recipient of awards such as Akali Phula Memorial Trust of Guru Nanak Dev Mission for his book titled Mata Sundari Ji, Sangharsh Ate Shakhsiyat in the year 2013, Bhai Gurudas Budib Jivi Sanman in 2017, and Baba Singh Bahadur Award in 2018. Dr. Singh is a prolific writer and has published 15 books and articles in various journals and is a regular contributor to newspapers. Sir, we are pleased to have you in our midst and request you to address the gathering, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I congratulate Institute of Objective Studies and Momin Women's College, Mumbai, for organizing this 2 days conference on most relevant issue for promoting peace and harmony in the world. Now, I am thankful to both the collaborating institutions and Professor Hamidullah Marazi for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to share my views among the galaxy of scholars. As we all know, the society is growing swiftly towards the rapid means of travel and transport and communication, where one can notice every movement of the world through satellite pictures, YouTube channels, TV broadcasts, mobile phones, and get familiar with every situation in no time. The wrong or biased information can create a conflict or unrest in the society. On the other hand, the migration of people in different countries for education, jobs and trade bring them close to the people of different faiths and other traditions, which can create social or religious conflict. This is the dire need of the time to understand others so as to create peace and harmony in the society. So in this sense, this seminar is very relevant. So mostly every human being follows the faith of his choice and try to live according to the tenets and traditions he learned from the teachings of his prophets and scriptures. When people try to establish the superiority of their religion, it can create a conflict in the society. The scholars of religion always focus on the social religious values of the society so as to avoid conflict and binds together towards spiritual progression and harmony. But if a conflict broke in the name of religion, it may continue for the century. The saints and siblings always want to unite the society, and they find the best possible way is to understand other religions, other religious values and beliefs from their point of view. The understanding of other religion may broaden the vision of learning of one's own religion, which may create universal love, reconciliation, harmony in the society. This may be the reason the Max Muller stressed to understand other religions in these words: he who knows one religion knows no religion, and no one know none. So this was the basic mark of Max Muller in his 50 volume The Sacred Books of the East. So today's international seminar on need of interreligious understanding for promoting peace and harmony is a step towards presenting the views of our religion and understanding others' view on the basis of their faith and faith traditions. Sikhism is the youngest among all the major world religions, which is known for its welfare activities in the globe in the form of providing langar and other life-saving items to the people facing natural calamities or stuck in the war-torn countries. However, they are less than 2% in the world population, but they are recognized for their humanitarian cause, the spirit of which they derive from Guru Granth Sahib. The message of Guru Granth Sahib inspired to realize the remove of suffering of others, which integrates in a feeling of peace, humanity and brotherhood. Guru Granth Sahib, as we know, is universal in its content and message, which contains the Bani of 6 Gurus and 30 other Sufi saints and Hindu Bhaktas belonging to different religions, languages, geographical areas, but they are one in their God-oriented spirit and message. The ecumenical structure of the Quran tells us how to live together while following different faiths and traditions, which is the dire need of the multicultural, multi-social and multi-religious society. The ideology of the Guru Granth Sahib started with the word of Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism. He took Maulana, a Muslim by faith, on his travels to spread the message of God. His teachings saw no difference in whole mankind. He made it clear that anyone wanting to follow his teachings and path had to shed all the prejudices against interreligious or intercaste ties. Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism, commenced his teachings with the injunction of oneness of God, the sole creator of the universe. He is the creator and all along sustaining, protecting and amassing all. Since the creator is one, there is one flame of light shines in them. Resultantly, he is acknowledged as the father of the whole creation, as says Guru Nanak, the Ek Pita, Ekas Ke Hum Barg. There is one Lord, Father of all, whose light shines among all the living beings. The message of oneness of God discard the notion of my God and created a spirit of following the idea of universal God, the Father of all. The idea of God is suggestive of the unity or harmony of the social order and brotherhood. Guru Granth Sahib spreads the message of one God to bring the whole humanity at one common platform and to create peace and harmony in the society. The realization of the idea of one God, superior of all, omnipotent, omnipresent, and omniscient among all the creatures, brings humility and sheds the caste system and superiority of the races. The idea of one God helps in creating a spirit of universal brotherhood where nobody is superior or inferior. All are created by the same universal power who is superior to all, and everybody has to follow his command and who is superior among others. As Bhakt Kabir, one of the contributors of Guru Granth Sahib, he wrote, "Loga bharna kulo pai, khalak 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 mein khalik, पूर है सर्व ठाई, माटी एक अनेक पांड कर, साजी साजन हारे, ना कछ कोच माटी के पांडे, ना कछ कोच कुंभारे." It means, do not wander deluded by doubt. The creation is in the creator and the creator is in the creation, totally prevailing and permitting all places. The clay is the same, but the fashioner and fashion in its various ways. There is nothing wrong with the pot of clay. There is nothing wrong with the potter. So what Baba Free, another contributor of Guru Granth Sahib, he tells us, Frida Khalak Khalak Mai Khalk Vasera Mai Manda Kisno Akhi hai, Da Kismi Koi Na hai. The creator is in the creation and the creation abides in God. Whom can we call that? There is none without him. So by Nandural, the fourth point of Guru Gobind Singh, the 10th Guru Gobind Singh, he said that Khalak Khalik ki jaan ke Khalak dukhawe na hai, Khalak dukhe Nandural ji, Khalak ko peta hai. Regarding the creation as that of the creator, one should not exploit the creation. If creation is put in agony, largely creator is enraged. Guru Granth Sahib teaches the message of equality, where nobody is high or low and everybody is free to follow the teachings of their respective prophets and scriptures. Guru Nanak asked a Hindu to be a true Hindu and the Muslim to be a true Muslim. He emphasized the Muslim to observe the true meaning of namaz. So Sikh Gurus wanted a freedom of faith and worship not only for the Sikhs but for all the communities of the society according to their respective faiths and paths. When there was a challenge to the worship practice of the Hindus, the ninth Guru of the Sikhs at the time of Aurangzeb, Guru Tegh Bahadur, sacrificed his life. He sacrificed not only to protect the central mark of the Hindus but for the freedom of faith, because he wished the people to have a freedom of worship according to their own traditions. These type of unique events are the part of and parcel of Sikh history. In other words, it is the fact that the Gurus wished and inspired people to follow the true spirit of their respective scriptures and traditions. Guru Nanak treated both the Hindus and Muslims as the children of one God, and there should not be anything to create difference between the two if both understand their respective religions in the light of their scriptures. Guru Nanak showed a very positive attitude towards both the faiths in his teachings. A British scholar, W. Cole, observed the message of Guru Nanak in these words: "Let each remain within his own faith," would be the advice of Sikhism. All religions come from God. Deep down, they reveal God. Let the devotee look inside his own home for the truth. He will find it there. At its best, Sikhism does not condemn other faiths. It does not claim exclusive possession of the truth. It does not wish to evangelize it still regards its mission as being identical with that of the Gurus to witness the truth. Gurus gave the message of fraternity and brotherhood in theory as well as in practice. Harmandir Sahib is the central place of worship for the Sikh community. Guru Arjan, the fifth Guru of the Sikhs, invited a Sufi saint, Sai Mia Mir, a Muslim faith, to lay the foundation of the building, which was creation and implementation of Guru's ideas to treat all the different faiths and communities alike. The importance of building multiplied when Guru Arjan installed the first copy of the Granth Sahib in it. The building of universal acceptance and scripture of unity both were two concrete steps to spread the message of humanity and brotherhood. The institutions of Sangat and Langar are the integral part of the Gurdwaras, where people can sit and dine together without any prejudice. These two are inseparable and complementary to each other. The purpose of both is to bring the people close to each other, inculcate in them the spiritual values, and remove the sense of discrimination. The other important teaching of Guru Granth Sahib to remain in harmony with nature. Actually, now we are still talking about the harmony among the people or among the different faith communities. But in Guru Granth Sahib, we may see the harmony with nature is also required. So the Guru Sahib inspires us for clean environment and the purity of natural resources, but we are least aware of this teaching of the scripture and polluted our environment with the exploitation of natural resources. The polluted air, water and eatables put a question mark on the healthy environment and the sweat. Guru Granth Sahib led stress on the purity and sanctity of the fundamental requirements of life in these words. Pablo Guru, Pani Pita, Maharata Mahat. So that petition, now I'm going. Yes, concluding, sir. Yes. The tradition and values of Guru Granth Sahib are focused on to bring the people close to each other, educate them in the name of God, and shed the social values and critical emerged from the narrow tendency of ego or IMS. The universal appeal of the scripture is to attune to the spirit of God and remain in love, peace and brotherhood. This is the true secularism which is presented by the Sikh Gurus in Guru Granth Sahib in their life in theory and practice. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Paramveer Singh, sir. I'm happy to introduce our esteemed guest of honor, Maulana Abu Zafar Hassan Ahmad Nadwi. Maulana studied at Darul Uloom Nadwatul Ulama, Lucknow. He went to Al-Azhar University, Cairo for higher learning. He also taught at Shahadam Technical High School in Bhiwandi. Maulana is a renowned scholar. May I request Mr. Sohail Faqih sir, General Secretary, Konkan Muslim Education Society, to please felicitate Maulana Hassan Nadwi. Please have a big round of applause. invite Maulana Hassan Nadwi, जिनके किरदार से आती हो सदाकत की महक, जिनके किरदार से आती हो सदाकत की महक, उनकी तदरीस से पत्थर भी पिघल सकते हैं। मौलाना हसन नदवी।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुह। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। सदर मोहतरम, डाइस में मौजूद अहले इल्म, दानिशवरान, हाल में मौजूद मुअज़्ज़ज़ सामीन, ख़वातीन हज़रात, आपकी ये मजलिस अपनी मानवियत और अपनी अहमियत के एतबार से गैर मामूली अहम है। मैं इसके जिम्मेदार और बर्पा करने वालों को मुबारकबाद दूँगा और वो मुस्तहिक़ है शुक्रिया के कि ऐसी मजलिस अगर बर्पा हो तो उसकी इफादियत आज ही नहीं लेकिन निकलेगी ज़रूर, ज़ाहिर भी होगी, लोगों को फ़ायदा पहुँचेगा। बैनुल मज़ाहिब गुफ्तगू, जैसे कि इम्तियाज़ साहब की तफसीलात से मालूम हुआ, एक सिलसिला है। हर अहद में गुफ्तगू होती रही है, लेकिन ये भी एक अजीब बात है, उसके नताइज निकल नहीं सके। हम अभी तक मुंतज़िर है कि ये शजरा जिसके साए में हम बैठते हैं कभी तो फल दे। शायद अब वक्त आ गया है, होना चाहिए। मज़ाहिब के दरमियान गुफ्तगू का असल मकसद होता है कि आपस में ताल्लुकात बेहतर हों, टकराव न हो, एक दूसरे से दूरी न पैदा हो और हर शख्स के जज्बात और एहसासात का पूरा लिहाज किया जाए। मैं चूँकि प्रोग्राम बहुत गौर से देख रहा था, सुन रहा था, तो बहुत से सवालात मेरे दिमाग में भी उठे हैं, लेकिन ये मौका न उनके जवाब देने का है न उन पर गुफ्तगू करने का है। लेकिन मैं ये ज़रूर कहूँगा इस मज़ाहिब की भीड़ में कि दुनिया में आसमानी मज़ाहिब जिन्हें सेमेटिक रीजन कहा जाता है, सिर्फ तीन नहीं तक, यहूदियत, ईसाइयत और इस्लाम। इसके अलावा जो दूसरे मज़ाहिब हैं वो आर्याई मज़ाहिब हैं। आर्याई हिंदुस्तान में अपना दीन, अपना मजहब, अपनी रवायात सब लेकर के आए। इसलिए कहना कि हिंदुस्तान का मजहब है मैं सही नहीं समझता इल्मी तौर पर। नारेबाजी में तो सभी चुप रहते हैं। हाँ, हिंदुस्तान ने दुनिया को दो मजहब दिए हैं। एक मजहब गुरु नानक का यानी सिख मजहब, दूसरे कादियानी मजहब, कादियान से गुलाम अहमद मिर्जा का मजहब। इस वक्त सेहत, अदम सेहत, सही और गलत की गुफ्तगू नहीं हो रही है, गुफ्तगू हो रही है वजूद की और हकीकत की। आपने देखा होगा कि आज के लिए खबरें आई हैं कि कर्नाटक के स्कूलों में गीता पढ़ाई जाएगी। बहुत पहले, ये तो आज आया है मसला। यानी बिजनौरी ने जिन्होंने गालिब की शरह लिखी है, उन्होंने कहा हिंदुस्तान की इल्हामी किताबें दो ही हैं, एक गीता, दूसरी दीवान गालिब। हम किसी के मजहब के किताब की हमको निगेट करते ही नहीं, हम तो सबको लेकर के साथ चलने के आदि हैं। हमारे रसूल मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने जो हमें दीन दिया है, गौर से सुनिएगा, शायद ये बात आपके लिए नहीं हो। नस्ल कुशी हराम, माल का लूटना हराम, जान का लेना हराम, अक्ल को माऊफ करने वाली चीजें इस्तेमाल करना, शराब हराम, नस्ल का बका जरूरी, उन्होंने ये दीन दिया है, ये तसव्वुर दिया है और बताया कि खुदा ने बात कही अल खल्क़ अयालुल्लाह, मखलूक अल्लाह का कुंबा है, हम उसमें वो यानी कोई किसी के दरमियान हम तफरीक नहीं कर सकते। इंसान इंसान है, एक इंसान है, एक खुदा है, एक कायनात है, हम इसके कायल हैं। हम ऐसा फैलाव चाहते हैं, हम किसी को हटाकर किसी की जगह पे बैठने के आदी नहीं है। हमारा दीन, और इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूं हमारा दीन कि हमको अपने दीन के बारे में इजहार करने का हक है। न कोई मेरी जुबान काटने आएगा, न कोई मेरा हाथ तोड़ने आएगा। मेरा मसला है, मैं बयान करता हूँ आपके सामने। मैं दूसरों के मामलात में नहीं बोलता, तुम्हारा क्या है हम नहीं जानते। मगर एक बात मैं पूरी जिम्मेदारी से कहता हूं कि जिन तहरीकात का जिक्र किया गया है वो तहरीकात तामीरी से ज्यादा तखरीबी रही हैं। मैं पूरी जानने से कहता हूं, अगर इम्तियाज साहब सुन रहे हो तो सुन ले कि उन्होंने जो तहरीर को जिक्र किया है वो तामीरी नहीं रही है, तखरीबी रही है। उन्होंने नुकसान पहुंचाया है। मजहब की बात में कि उन्होंने इंसानियत को नुकसान पहुंचाया है। अकबर ने अपनी हुकूमत, अपने खानदान को मजबूत किया है। अकबर ने कोई मजहबी काम नहीं किया, और तो उसकी मजहबी फिक्र के ऊपर तो सबसे अहम कमेंट मान सिंह का था। मेरे महाबली अपने हाथ दिए हैं आपको, दिल और ईमान नहीं दिए, हम उस पर कायम रहेंगे। और शायद हर दीनदार शख्स की यही आवाज होनी चाहिए जो मान सिंह की आवाज थी कि हम दीन का सौदा नहीं कर सकते, हम खिदमत करेंगे, हम जान देंगे, हम सब करेंगे, लेकिन हमारा अकीदा, हमारा ईमान हमारे साथ है। अकबर से पहले अलाउद्दीन खिलजी ने भी ये कोशिश की थी, लेकिन उसके कोतवाल ने उसको समझाया, मना किया, ऐसी हरकतें मत करो। इसी का नतीजा ही निकला कि मिर्जा गुलाम अहमद कादियानी सामने आई। हम उस मजहब पे बहस नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन एक बात हम जरूर कहेंगे, हम मुसलमानों पर हिंदुस्तान में ये बड़ी तुहमत है कि एक नबी आया, उसको मुसलमानों ने कबूल नहीं किया। ये है कि नहीं है? खास तौर पर ब्रिटेन की तरफ से बात आई है, इन्होंने नबी को कबूल नहीं किया। शायद वो भूल गए कि हजरत ईसा के मानने वालों ने, क्रिश्चियन ने मोहम्मद रसूलुल्लाह को कबूल नहीं किया, वहां पे आवाज नहीं उठी। इससे ऊपर चलिए, जूस ने हजरत ईसा को कबूल नहीं किया, जूस ने 2 नबी नहीं माने, क्रिश्चियन ने 1 नबी नहीं मानी, और हम गैर नबी को नबी मान लें, ऐसा नहीं। तो मेरे अजीजों और मेरे साथियों, हिंदुस्तान की यूनिवर्सिटियों के डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ हिस्ट्री ने जो जहर बोया है 67 साल में, उसका अंदाजा आम लोगों को नहीं है। ये तलबा जानते हैं, अहले इल्म जानते हैं, दानिशवरान जानते हैं, जर्नलिस्ट जानते हैं। अगर किसी भी इदारे के डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ फिलॉसफी से ये तहरीक उठती है कि मज़ाहिब के अंदर गुफ्तगू होना चाहिए, किसी का कुछ छीनना न चाहिए, जो जिसके पास है उसकी हिफाजत करनी चाहिए, तो शायद इस सरजमीन की तारीख फिर बदल जाए। हम जिस रुख पे चल रहे हैं, हम जो कर रहे हैं, ये कोई अच्छी अलामत नहीं है। मैं आपको बताऊं, एक तो बुढ़ापे की वजह से, बीमारी की वजह से, अगर कोई लड़का बहुत फास्ट मोटरसाइकिल चलाता है और गुजरता मेरे पास से, तो मैं उसके मुस्तकबिल के लिए अच्छी राय खोजने लगता, मैं मायूस हो जाता हूँ। इस बात को आप समझिए कि मैं क्या कहना चाहता हूँ। अल्लाह ताला इस मस्जिद को आबाद रखे, इसके कायम करने वालों को आबाद रखे, आप लोगों को आबाद रखे। अल्लाह, बातें तो बहुत कहने को थी, लेकिन मुझसे कहा गया कि भाई माफ़ करना, वक्त नहीं है। और भाई वक्त की हिफाजत करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि बड़ों ने बड़ी लंबी लंबी बातें कर दी हैं। तो अल्लाह ताला से दुआ है कि हम इफादियत की राहों पे चलें, फ़ायदा उठाएं, फ़ायदा पहुंचाएं। शुक्रिया।
Thank you, sir. It gives me immense pleasure to announce that we are having a book release of 3 publications in this August gathering today. May I request the Honorable President of Konkan Muslim Education Society, Mr. Talal Faqih sir, to please release the book edited by Professor M. Afzal Wani, Principal Foundations for Global Peace, A Way Forward for Better Future. May I also request the dignitaries on the stage to also rise for this. Thank you. May I request Honorable General Secretary of Konkan Muslim Education Society, Mr. Sohail Faqih sir, to release the second book titled Islam Meri Nazar Mein by Mr. Rishi Acharya. Thank you. May I request in-charge principal of GM Momin Women's Education College, Dr. Nisar Ahmed Sheikh sir, to release the third book titled Interreligious Understanding for Advancement of Human Rights for All, edited by Professor M. Afzal Wani sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, Savita ma'am. Thank you, dignitaries. I'm profusely elated to take an opportunity to introduce Professor Dr. M. Afzal Wani. Professor Wani is a Vice Chairman, Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi. Sir is a nationally prominent educator and researcher in law. Sir is a former member of the Law Commission of India. Professor Wani is a Dean in University School of Law and Legal Studies at Campus Law University of the Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi. Professor M. Afzal Wani has contributed over 75 research papers and about a dozen of books to the field of law. May I now request our President, Mr. Tala Faqih sir, and Mr. Sohail Faqih, Joint Secretary, Konkan Muslim Education Society, to jointly felicitate Professor Dr. M. Afzal Wani. तालियां बजती रहनी चाहिए, please. Thank you. It's time for his presidential address. I would like to invite Professor M. Afzal Wani with this couplet, a beautiful couplet of Ahmed Faraz. सुना है बोले तो बातों से फूल झड़ते हैं, सुना है बोले तो बातों से फूल झड़ते हैं, ये बात है तो चलो बात करके देखते हैं. प्रोफेसर M. Afzal Wani.
नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम. औज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम. बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम. रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली. सदक़ल्लाहुल अलीयुल अज़ीम. Dr. Savita Sukumar, Mr. Ahmed Patel, Mr. Umar Farooq, Janab Talha Faqih, Janab Suhail Faqih, Madam Tabassum, Professor Hamid Sahab, Professor Hasina Hashia, Dr. Nisar Sahab, Maulana Hassan Sahab, and online Sri Ravi Shankar, Maulana Khalid Saifullah Rahmani, Dr. John Bayal, Professor Imtiaz Yusuf, Professor Akhtarul Wase, Professor Paramveer Singh, and very, very dear friends in the August House, and dear students, dear faculty members, I wish you all a very, very happy good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum, namaskar, adavas. Dear friends, first of all, I would like to congratulate this college, and it deserves congratulations. The thing is very important. People are striving for peace. People want justice. People want serenity. People want tranquility. People want that there should be understanding. People want there should be a dialogue. It cannot grow in a nursery and then you can have the crop of it. No. It has to grow from the lap of the mother. It has to grow from the lap of the mother, please understand. The generation to which we belong, we have seen probably the Hobbesian pessimism in life being nasty, brute and short that was showing more truth. But we have the hope. The hope is that we can create a life in peace, in serenity, in harmony, and that life can be now forwarded by our next generation, and that next generation is being produced by this Women's College at Bhiwandi, looked after by Janab Suhail Saab and Janab Talha Saab. They have to cater it. The mothers who will be produced here, they have to cater that process of producing the future generations with the vision of peace, serenity, and then throwing away brutish and other nasty ideas which are very much prevalent in the world today. Unfortunate. And unfortunate it is so, because this planet has seen people like Ram have come there. People like Krishna have come there. People like Gautam have come there. People like Jesus have come there. People like Muhammad have come there. And still humanity is at the path of war. This is most unfortunate. And later on, especially in this country, if we say, चिश्ती ने जिस ज़मीं पे हक का पयाम सुनाया, नानक ने जिस ज़मीं पे वहदत का गीत गाया, मेरा वतन वही है, मेरा वतन वही है। मेरे अरब को आई ठंडी हवा जहां से, मेरा वतन वही है, मेरा वतन वही है। लेकिन बात क्या है? What is the wrong? Where is the things are going wrong? The first thing I will say that the educational institutions will have to discharge their, responsibilities in a more careful manner. They have to bring up a generation not only of the skilled people, that they are skilled in dealing with softwares, hardwares and other things. No, they have to bring up the people with the heart at right place, with right thinking, considerate mind, considerate opinion, considerate towards others' life, and then taking others' daughter his own daughter, others' sister his own sister, others' child his own child, others' life his own child. That is peace. And then I think, the academics of last 400-500 years that created certain kinds of connotations, the Western, the Eastern, the Oriental, the others and others, I think that should go. We have to promote a new kind of terminology, and that terminology should be purely human, peace-oriented, and that should be definitely, educating the people, and then that should create that psyche which will definitely make a person think of the realities, that what are the actual human vibrations coming from within, what the soul is telling to you, what the soul is dictating. And that's why I stress more on and congratulate this more, because I think that women can do this job the best, because they can convert the next generation into a better generation. And I would say this college should be recognized at the national level and international level in catering the future needs of the people. I would say the global community should appreciate it, that this college now about around 100 years old going to be, it must have definitely brought out very, very good, decent and sensitive mothers. It is because of that this world is still surviving and subsisting. Otherwise there is too much of filth and froth and dirt in the minds, that there is lot of conflict and contradiction in anything, at home, in academics, in discussions, in society, in politics, and more so the road to peace was through justice, but the institution of justice is totally full with thorns of contradictions, and that jurisprudence of peace, probably it seems as if it had never existed on this planet Earth. And that's why I would say that these institutions have to play the role, and that's how the Institute of Objective Studies 36 years before, they thought that why not to study things objectively? Why to take the things by hearsay? somebody said like this, somebody said other thing, somebody wants this thing. No, what the humanity objectively, let us examine what it needs, what it wants, what should be there, and what has been said by the Creator himself, what is behoving to the humanity, and what is bringing humanity down to the pedestal of brutishness and other things, and what can bring humanity to the higher pedestal of humanity and harmony. That all has to be objectively examined, and that's how we have to examine the economic policies of the world. We have to examine the international legal regime in the world. We have to examine the national policies, and we have to see that how they are carrying the humanity beyond. And then in all this is possible that strength can be given to this thought. And what is that? That has to be appreciated. That means the soul of the human being should be with it. And what gives strength to the soul is faith, is religion. And if that grand norm is polluted, violated, if faith is itself polluted, what will happen to the world then? Please appreciate, I will tell to all the thinkers of the world, that you think of it. If we pollute the source of strength, the source of courage to get to the purity, that is faith. If you pollute it, what will happen? What will remain there? Nothing can control it then. And that's how I would say, when we look to all the faiths, we find that there are uniform kinds of perceptions and concepts, they are existing there. Yesterday you had Holi, and then please see to it, what Harnakashyap was saying, I am God, same thing was being said by Namrud, I am God. And to Harnakashyap, Prahlad said, his son said, you are not God. And to Namrud, Ibrahim said, you are not God. You see the story in India and the story that has come to us through the Quran, how much similarity is there. And then Harnakashyap wanted to burn Prahlad in fire, and same was done by Namrud. He wanted to burn his violator, and his, that Ibrahim, he wanted to burn him fire. What a sort of similarity is there, and what for? The denial of the human God, denial of arrogance, denial of any kind of thing which is hurting the human dignity of being a human being. And the worst of the hurting of the human dignity is if you want one human being to worship another human being. So that's how, we have to go to the spirit of the faiths. We have to go to the realities. And I'll tell you that when behind every kind of faith you will find originally and in reality and in essence, there is one message that you are human, and you are human. To retain your humanity, you follow these principles, and those principles are called, they get the name of a particular faith. Maybe because of a language, maybe because of any region, because of any other reasons, but at the base of it, you find it's the same. Now, there is a need for academics that they have to come forward. And then I would say that throughout the world, the academic fraternity must come forward. And that's why I am giving the message that this college, it is initiating something. It has given some message that if academics, if scholars are not following this cause, who will do it? Then we will only keep on discussing things, this should be like this, this should be like that. And then we are not going to the next generation. What sort of next generation we should have? How can you have the results? You cannot. If the seeds are not sown in the garden, if the seeds are not sown in the soil, you can't have the crop which you want to have. If you want to have that crop, I think that we have to address this next generation as well, though we have to have the plans to, stop, to prevent further damage to the harmony and peace we are having in our society even today. That should not be further harmed. We can have thinking on that, we can make arrangements for that, but definitely if we want to have more success, then definitely we have to go for another generation, and that's where I would say that is the beginning. And I have high hopes from the daughters. My dear daughters, I must tell you that if you have heard the name of Hazrat Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, he is the best gift of God to Islam, to justice of the world. But do you know who became the cause for that Hazrat Umar Farooq to embrace the faith, to become that great Khalifa? It was a lady. It was his sister. Sister became firm. Sister became, I am very firm. Umar, I cannot, surrender in front of you. I have an idea. I have a better idea. I know it better. And then ultimately Umar had to accept, you the daughters of the world, if men are getting astray, if they are getting arrogant, you have to rise and you have to tell them, stop. These are our sons. These are our children. These are our brother. We have to set them right. We have to, cater them, and at the same time, we have to teach them the reality in faith. We have to teach them the reality that what is behind every faith and every religion. We will give them the correct understanding of it. I believe when all the mothers and sisters and daughters of this world will rise, I think the correct understanding of the religions will be there and hearts will come closer, and that has to be done. And then another lesson I will take from it, that people, academics and others, they have to understand on what we have to focus. I will say you have to focus on fasad is the most dangerous thing that is breaking the fabric of harmony and peace in this world today. And what is fasad? That means people are to be confused, that they do not understand the realities. And they are prevented from knowing the realities, they are prevented from advancing the cause. And that's how I would say that this fasad, fake, as John Bayal was saying, about fake news and other things, it has to go, it has to be prevented, and truthfully the cause has to be forwarded, and you will find great success. I do not want to quote American philosophers, British and others. Really, there are some very good writers. They have given indicators to humanity. You all people in philosophy, that humanity is going to come into a conflict. I would not quote all of them, but I am getting the idea. And that came true many times. And that's how you found the map of the world which was existing in early 1980s is no more in the world. Many of the leaders who had brought stability to certain regions in this world, they are gone and they are in a fluid state, and there is chaos and confusion. And many of the personalities were dashed to the ground, and many of the principles, as we have just now released this book, Principal Foundations for Global Peace, they were accepted by the world community in 1945, 1948 and onwards, as we want to live with peace. We have seen the scourge of war in our lives twice, in the First World War, Second World War. 6 million people were killed in First, 60 million people were killed in Second World War. How can we afford it? And that's why we won't have certain basic principles for global peace. But unfortunately, we find in the last 30 years, again, some people in the name of Cold War and some people in the name of the direct war, they are, damning it, they are dismantling all those foundations of peace. We have to look to it. And that's how, we have to make the religion play the best of the role to prevent things from going from bad to worse. Rather than we use the religion is used to, promote conflict, promote contradiction. Religion has to promote serenity, likeness, and closeness and friendliness. And that's how I would say, I request all the people of different religions, please, there is a lot in your religion which is very positive. There is a lot in the life of Ram, in the life of Muhammad, Krishna, Buddha, which can be positively presented. And in the life of Nanak, the best of it, it can be presented very positively. Why are you going to the negativity which has crept into it? Maybe through some scholars who were very negative. maybe some scholars who believed in conflict, maybe some scholars who wanted to galvanize the conflict. No, you have to, throw it out, you have to weed it out, and the positive principles have to be forwarded. And I would say in the next year, the world must focus on it, that there is no kind of negativity projected about any faith, and positivity is projected. And actually all the institutions in the world, they must get to it. All the organizations in the United Nations, different centers, they must collide. And maybe this college with Institute of Objective Studies should send a memorandum to the United Nations, to General Assembly, and to the Security Council, and to UNICEF about adopting the syllabi. What kind of syllabi they should adopt? What kind of policies they must adopt? If this college does not do it, please don't think you are so small, you can't do it. You can do it. And please think high. You my dear daughters, please think very high. Don't think that the Secretary General of United Nations will be always from some other country, maybe US, UK, others. No. An alumnus of this college can also sometime become the Secretary General of the United Nations. They can also, get to various offices in the United Nations. You think very high that there are offices of international agencies in different countries. We are coming out very boldly with due skill, with good language skills, with good thought, and we will make these all offices functional for the development of peace. Because this is for peace. If you will read the preamble of the UN Charter, it starts with it, that humanity cannot afford any more qatl-e-aam, no more killings, no more genocide, nothing. We have to go for peace. And who will do it? I think you will give a great name to this college by resolving today, become very resolute kind of human beings and citizens of this largest democracy, and then say we have come out to give peace and peace and peace. And at the same time, I'll tell you that there are multiple disciplines in this college. I am very happy. If you are studying management, don't confine to that. You go, you visit sometimes the Department of Philosophy also. And if you are in philosophy, you go to the Department of Management also. Please become multidisciplinary, broad-minded, very much vibrant, active, and absorbing and observing and people of action, and then come out and tell to the world, we want to advance peace. For that we have to be healthy, we have to be very strong, we have to be very broad-minded, and with a spirit of sacrifice, we will advance the cause. And definitely I think that is basically what this college and Institute of Objective Studies can give to the world. I always say that now don't think of the avatars will again come, prophets will again come. They used to come. Now the scholars have the responsibility. Now the students have the responsibility. Now thinkers have the responsibility. They have to advance the right approach, right things. And then unfortunately in history, it is good to know history. There you find history is history. There are conflicts. You must avoid those parts of history because we are living human beings. We are not like the books of history. They are dead now, but there is some life in them. We have to carry that part of it and carry it forward. And wherever there is negativity, we should push it back. We should not go with it. This burden should not go with that. And that's how, dear friends, I would say that this is what we were hearing from this Guru Shri Ravi Shankar. I have seen him once when he released one of the books of this Maulana Sahib, who was the law minister earlier. Maulana Sahib had written Ramayana. There is a practice of many people writing Ramayana in their own words. That was released by him in Vigyan Bound, and he is a very good writer. And then his organization, Art of Living, my students are associated with this, and I must tell you, there was Eid on that day. They celebrated Clean Delhi Drive in Delhi, but I offered the Eid prayers and then went to Kashmiri Gate in Delhi, and I myself took up a broom, a jhadu, and I was cleaning the streets of Delhi at that time. This is what you have to do. That's how the message should go. And that's how Maulana Khalid Saifullah Rahmani, I think he is after constitutional values, even if he is trained in religion and faith, but he is definitely for constitutional values. We have to advance them, and we are grateful to him for that. And then I must also appreciate that we had a good presentation from Dr. Imtiaz Yusuf, and that was a good one. He gave a historical context. Many people pleaded about it, and that's how we have to go with it. And then Professor Akhtarul Wase, he is, a heartthrob for all of us in Delhi, and he is, giving very good ideas. We are grateful to him also. I am not presenting the vote of thanks, but I am saying he has given the ideas, and I am appreciating them. You must carry those ideas and then connect them with mine. I didn't give any other kind of thing. I had to conclude it. Rather, I had, and on the advice of Hamid Saab, I tried to think during night something I must say, but I could not do it because I think I wanted to depend on the inspiration, instant inspiration from Almighty, what I should say. And that's how Dr. Jan Dayal, he's a very vibrant person, and he gave a world view of things that way. And Dr. Paramveer and Maulana Hassan Nadwi Saab, he did very bebaki ke saath, he presented certain things, and that was a very great of it. And then we will be having a very good vote of thanks from Hasina Madam also. I think I mentioned formally the presidential address must mention the speakers earlier, and then I also specially mention the silence of Talha Saab and Suhail Saab. They maintained silence with peace. They are praying in their hearts, there should be peace, and I thank them for felicitating those who are the crusaders for peace. And with that, I always say, even if I am given 5 minutes, I don't say I was not having time. I say I said enough in 5 minutes. So if you ask me to speak for 2 days, I'll be there for 2 days. But at the same time, we have to be constrained to things. I wanted to communicate the message to the generation. They understood it. You are great. Please don't be in any kind of complexity. You have to shape the world. You have to shape the world. You have to shape the world. At that time, the sister of Hazrat Umar was not knowing that up to the last day of the world, she will be the greatest warrior who conquered a brother. No, not anybody else. To conquer the brothers, you can do it. You can make the world the best. And with these words, I thank all this management, and then I should not forget a big name, that is Dr. Muhammad Manzoor Alam, who has established this Institute of Objective Studies. And when it was being conceived, incidentally, I think sometimes we become not believers in God because of firm believers we are, because it was during that very period. We met in Hamid Saab's room in JNU, and Dr. Muhammad Manzoor Alam as his another friend, and he was then, on a scooter fighting all this, and then, establishing the institute. We have been there now together for the last 36 years. And this institute has published more than 400 volumes, which no university in the country has done so far. I can say no country has done so far. And it has helped so many PhD scholars and others, and in its functions, almost all prime ministers have come, they have attended, and then most of the important diplomats, they appreciated that it has an objective approach. So you all get associated with this cause, and then we will definitely bring peace to the world. Be with a great hope, and then, gather the courage to fight it with non-violence, with patience, and with sweetness. You can fight better and come out successful. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor M. Afzalwani. Before word of thanks, we'll have felicitation. I know it's time, but I have a wonderful couplet for the situation. ए वक्त ठहर जा कि यहाँ मेहमान आए हैं, लम्हे ये बार बार मैसर नहीं होते. I will have felicitation. I mean, it's रस्म दुनिया भी है, मौका भी है, दस्तूर भी है, that sort of. I would quickly call upon Dr. Tabassum Sheikh ma'am to please felicitate Institute of Objective Studies staff. May I now start with Professor Hasina Hashia ma'am, Assistant Secretary, General Institute of Objective Studies. I request you to be there, ma'am. I request Mr. Muhammad Alam, Finance Secretary, IOS, to please come on the dais. Mr. Ibrahim Alam, Director, Genuine Publications and GC member, IOS. Mr. Ataur Rahman, Administrative Officer, IOS. तालियां बजनी चाहिए, please. Mr. Mansoor Ahmed, Multimedia in charge, IOS. Mr. Rashid Anwar, Program Executive, IOS. Mr. Rashid Anwar Sahab. Mr. S. Jamal Parvez, Program Assistant, IOS. Ms. Samra Firdaus, Projects Coordinator, IOS. Muhammad Faizan, Office Assistant, IOS. And Muhammad Ishaq. Please come on the dais. Thank you, Dr. Tabassum ma'am. We'll now have felicitation of our honorable management members. It reminds me of a beautiful couplet of Faiz Ahmed Faiz. Gulo mein rang bhare, baade nau bahar chale. Gulo mein rang bhare, baade nau bahar chale. Chale bhi aao ke gulshan ka karobar chale. May I now request Dr. Nisar Ahmed Sheikh sir to kindly felicitate our President, Mr. Tala Najmuddin Faqi. I request Principal Sir to please felicitate Mr. Zia Abdul Shakur Momin, Vice President, KB Society. I request Principal Sir to please felicitate Mrs. Sohail Mushtaq Faqi, Honorary General Secretary, Konkan Muslim Education Society.
पीछे बैठे उनको करा देते हैं और नीचे ऊपर
I request Nisar Sir to please felicitate Mr. Uzair Najmuddin Faqi, Member of Management and Chairman English Primary School. I request Nisar Sir to please felicitate Mr. Ubaid Sikandar Faqi. I request Sir to please felicitate Mr. Mukhtar Farid Sir, Member of Management. I request Dr. Nisar Ahmed Sheikh to kindly felicitate Mr. Asad Faqi, Member of Management. I request Nisar Sir to please felicitate Mr. Zubair Narwal Sir, Member of Management. I request Dr. Nisar Ahmed Sheikh Sir to kindly felicitate Dr. Uzma Nahid Ma'am, Member of Muslim Personal Law Board. I request Nisar Ahmed Sheikh Sir to kindly felicitate Mr. Nazim Nasik, a special invitee, Konkan Muslim Education Society. I request Nisar Sir to kindly felicitate Mr. Shagaf Pathan, Member of Management. I request Principal Sir to kindly felicitate Dr. Amita Valmiki Ma'am. I request Principal Sir to kindly felicitate Professor Sheshadri Sir. So please felicitate Dr. Omkar Sir. Dr. Omkar, yeah.
Simran Baba from Zedham College. Dr. Simran Baba. No, Dr. नहीं, Professor Simran.
I request Sir to please felicitate Professor Simin Bawa from Jai Hind College.
Dr. Radha Kumar from Xavier's College. Dr. Radha Kumar from Xavier's College.
I request Sir to please felicitate Dr. Radha Kumar from St. Xavier's College, Mumbai. I request Sir to please felicitate the members of press what we have here, sir. I apologize, my sincere apologies. I request Principal Sir to kindly felicitate Mr. Yasser Tatli Sir, Member of Management.
Nishant Chaudhary.
I request sir to kindly felicitate Mr. Nishant Chaudhary, sir.
Nishant Chaudhary. Nishant Chaudhary you told, right? Nishant Chaudhary.
Sir, please felicitate Mr. Nishant Chaudhary.
He's not there.
He's not there. Okay, okay, sir.
Anybody else?
Yes, yes.
नहीं अभी
I request our President, Mr. Tala Faqi, sir, and I request our Secretary, sir, Mr. Sohail Faqi, sir, to kindly felicitate our beloved in-charge Principal, Dr. Nisar Ahmad Sheikh, sir. Okay. तालियां बजनी चाहिए प्लीज. सर थोड़ी सी ज़हमत और दूंगा मैं आपको. तला सर एंड सोहेल सर, प्लीज फेलिसिटेट डॉक्टर तबस्सुम शेख मैम, कोऑर्डिनेटर ऑफ दिस टू-डे इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस. Thank you. Thank you all the dignitaries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed sir. We have now come to the end of the inaugural session of the two-day international conference on need of inter-religious understanding for promoting peace and harmony. I would like to invite Professor Hasina Hashia to propose the vote of thanks with a formal introduction. Professor Hasina Hashia is at present the Assistant Secretary General, Institute of Objective Studies. She was formerly Professor, Department of Geography, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Professor Hashia has obtained her educational degrees from reputed and prestigious institutions like University of Kashmir, Aligarh Muslim University and Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Women, development and empowerment of women and issues pertaining to women lie at the core of her wide-ranging and diversified social engagements. Her association with NGOs and All India Muslim Personal Law Board gives her a broad platform to articulate her work, especially women's issues. Professor Hasina Hashia is a globetrotter, traveling to countries like America, Iran, Iraq, Malaysia, Indonesia to deliver lectures and also attended women's leadership programs. May I invite Professor Hasina Hashia with a round of applause to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Professor. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Esteemed personalities on the dais and off the dais. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to all. Alhamdulillah, the inaugural function of this 2 days international conference, the topic of which is need of interreligious understanding for promoting peace and harmony. His brilliant inaugural address, he is a spiritual leader and founder of Art of Living. By his inaugural address, he educated us how to live, what is the art of living in what is the art to live in harmony and in universal brotherhood. After him, I want to present my heartfelt thanks to Maulana Khalid Rahmani Sahib Damat Barakatuhum. He is the Secretary General, All India Muslim Personal Board, and also the Secretary of the National Fiqh Academy, India. That is a very prestigious post. He is holding the post of Secretary. I appreciate his keynote address because he presented the keynote address. I appreciate that because he mentioned the rights in the Quran, in the Holy Quran. What are the rights to live with the mutual interaction with each groups and the mutual understanding with other religious groups. He also explained our rights in Constitution, rights and guarantees of citizenship in the Constitution. After that, I want to present my heartfelt vote of thanks to our 5 guests of honor. They were belonging to different faiths. First was the Professor Imtiaz Yusuf. He is Associate Professor in ISTAC, Malaysia. Professor Yusuf, he presented various philosophies like Iqbal's philosophy and the Buddhist philosophy. Through this, all his efforts, he showed that there is room for universal brotherhood. We can live in harmony with each other. Every religion teaches us how to live in harmony, how to live coexistently. So this was his message in his lecture. Sir, we are really thankful to you. Next was our mentor, Professor Akhtarul Wase Sahab. Professor Akhtarul Wase Sahab is the Professor Emeritus Department of Islamic Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia, and he was formerly the Vice Chancellor of Jodhpur University, Maulana Azad University, Jodhpur. He is a very brilliant speaker. So through his message, he conveyed the message that this is the proper time because the condition, the situation in our country is such that there is need to organize such programs. And after him, John Dayal Sahab, who is the member of National Integration Council, New Delhi, he gave us a very brilliant message, and also Professor Pauravir Singh, who is the professor of Sikhism in the University of Patiala. They also gave us a brilliant message how to live in harmony with each other. And after them, there was Mr. Hassan Nadwi, Mr. Hassan Saab, who has obtained his degree from the Al-Azhar University, Cairo, Egypt. He explained the importance of interreligious dialogue in the present context. Then I am extremely thankful to Principal G.M. Momin Saab of this Momin College, G.M. Momin Women's College, for his brilliant special lecture and for his continuous support, because he is working with us for last, I think, so many months. So he is continuously supporting us. I also want to mention my heartiest gratitude to the office bearers of Konkan Educational Society. I want to mention the names of President Mr. Talha Faqi, General Secretary Mr. Sohail Faqi Saab, and the Vice President Mr. Ubaid Faqi, and all other members of this very prestigious this organization or the educational society. I am thankful to Mr. Umar Farooq Saab for his excellent work. I think he is the staff member of this college. We are extremely thankful to him. I present my heartfelt thanks to 2 pillars of this function. One is Professor Tabassum Sheikh, who is the convener of this program, and also the Professor Hamidullah Marazi Saab or the Hamid Naseem Rafi Abazi Saab, who is the director of the religious studies in the Technological University Avantipura, Srinagar, and Madam is from this college. Madam presented a welcome address. It was so nice, and we are very thankful to you, Madam, that you have taken up this task. We are so thankful to you, and we are thankful to Hamidullah Marazi Saab for introducing that topic, because he introduced the topic in such a way that he has set the tone for the 2 days international conference in a very nice and right direction. We are thankful to you, sir, please. I want to thank from the core of my heart to the main force behind these all efforts and events. I mean Dr. Mohammed Manzoor Alam, Chairman, Institute of Objective Studies, New Delhi. Sir, you are our inspiration, and you are always cooperative to us in these to organize these endeavors. We are very much thankful to you, sir. I am thankful to Professor Zedham Khan Saab for introducing the organization. I want to thank all the participants, online, offline, whole staff of this college, and other professors and participants of other colleges. I want to thank them for their participation, for their patient listening, for their cooperation and giving us the moral support. I want to thank all my students who are sitting there, because you are the future of the nation. These programs are for you. You are the girl students, and we love to speak, we love to work with the girl students, because if a man is educated, it is on one person. If a female, if a mother is educated, that means whole clan and whole family gets educated and gets value system, which is need of the day. I thank you, all of you. I want to mention in the audience, I know some dignitaries. I want to mention the name of Professor Sheshadri Saab. I want to mention the name of Professor Amita and Dr. Usman Nahid. Please, I want to mention my thanks.
Vice President Zia Abdul Shakur Momin.
Okay.
This society.
I'm sorry, sir. Vice President Saab, I want to pay my special thanks to you, because you are the people who have provided us this platform, who you have provided us this college, and we want that this college should progress in such a way that it will become an example for the whole country, inshallah. Finally, I want to pay my sincere thanks and warm thanks to IOS staff, IOS team, and GM Momin Girls College team. I want to mention the names of Mr. Ataur Rahman, who is the PS2 Chairman, Institute of Objective Studies, Mr. Muhammad Alam, who is our Finance Secretary, and Mr. Ibrahim Alam, who is in charge of Publication Division of Institute of Objective Studies, Mr. Mansoor Alam, who belongs to the IT Department, Mr. Rashid Anwar, who is in charge of these programs, conferences and seminars, and Parvez Jamal, who is in charge reception, and Ms. Samra Firdos, who is in charge of projects of IOS. I want to mention the names of GM Momin Women's College, like Mr. Mushtaq Ahmed Patel, who is a wonderful person who was with us since yesterday, and who provided every comfort to us. I want to thank him from the core of my heart. I want to thank Professor Tarsif Dole, Dr. Nuruddin, Professor Miraj Saab, Professor Fahad, and all others whose names I don't know. Please, I thank all of you. I thank the media team, and I also IT department of this college, who have provided us all these facilities. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay blessed always. We are with you for the next 2 days. Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you, Professor Hasina Hashia, ma'am. A couple of announcements before we conclude the inaugural sessions. This is an...
1 minute.
Sure.
I forgot that, sorry, I forgot the names, two main persons. I want to pay my special thanks to Mr. Professor Ahmed Patel sir from the Department of Management, and also the Professor Savita Sukumar from English Department, because they have compared this, they have presented this, they have compared this whole program so brilliantly, so clearly, without any confusion. I pay my special thanks to you. Thank you very much. Sorry for my mistake.
Thank you, ma'am, for your appreciation. Yeah. A big and a very proud moment for our college. I would say it is another feather in our cap. Tomorrow, that is the 20th of March 2022, will be another landmark for us with respect to this conference, and that is Konkan Muslim Education Society's GM Momin Women's College is going to sign a memorandum of understanding with Institute of Objective Studies. And I hope that this MOU or Memorandum of Understanding will forge new relationship and strengthen bonds, not only for the conference in philosophy, but in other areas as well. Moving forward to other announcements, there is actually a stall displaying the publications issued or brought forth by Institute of Objective Studies outside the auditorium. And a special discount of 50% is specially being offered for this occasion. So members and delegates are requested to visit the stall and please avail of this discount and this opportunity. The next announcement is that delegates who are paper presenters, who are going to present your papers in business sessions, are requested to provide the titles of your papers to the registration desk. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us now break for lunch. Lunch for the guests and vegetarians is being served at the Assembly Hall, KMS English Medium School. Lunch for the teaching and non-teaching staff members of our college will be in the college canteen. And we will all assemble again in the auditorium for the business sessions at 2:30. Thank you one and all. Thank you everyone.
Please, all patron members are requested to invited for the lunch. Please don't go away. All the patron members, the management members, they are requested to be with us for the lunch, to be there with us for the lunch.